Well, as the seconds tick off the scoreboard here at James Cotter Field, we are getting closer by the second to the moment that this lacrosse team has been waiting for the entire 2022 season. It is time for the postseason, and we're through one round in the LEC Conference Tournament. Time for your Beacons to get into the action. Good afternoon, lacrosse fans. Beacon fans across Beaconville, wherever you are tuning in, we are very happy to have you here at James Cotter Field, right off the campus of UMass Boston on the campus of BC High, for today's LEC Conference Semifinals between your number 1 seeded UMass Boston Beacons and the number 4 seed Mass Maritime Academy Buccaneers. My name is Chris Del Sordo. I will be bringing you the action today, and what a big day it is. This 2022 season has seen the Beacons really just clicking, being a complete unit on offense and defense the entire season long. 15 wins to just 2 losses up to this point in the 2022 campaign, and they have the upper hand, bluntly, in this matchup against the number 4 seed Massachusetts Maritime Academy Buccaneers. MMA 8-8 right now at this point on the season, 6-3 record in the LEC. They ended the regular season 7-8 and 5-3 in the conference, which was good enough to get them the 4 seed in the LEC conference. Things were rather different the last time that these two teams matched up. They played just under a month ago, actually 4 weeks ago to the day, and UMass Boston won on the road in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts, by a score of 20-9. In that game, Gavin Admirand exploded a 9-point outing, 7 goals to go along with 2 assists. Dara Fahey added 4 points, 3 goals and an assist, and Charlie Chapman and Jacob Banks each with 3 points that outing. That's always a nice moment. Just want to put that out there for any fans tuning in. The pleasure is just as much ours here on the Beacon Broadcasting Network crew. So anyway, it was an 11-goal win for the Beacons the last time they played the Buccaneers, 20-9 on the road. And we mentioned big day for Gavin, 9 points. Dara with 4 points, 3 goals, and an assist. And we mentioned the 2 sophomores. We're going to talk about them in a second. Chapman and Banks with 3 points apiece. Mitchell Maeda, the all-everything performer for Mass Maritime, he led the way for the Buccaneers in that contest. 4 points. He had a goal and 3 assists. But since that point, the season has turned around quite a bit for the Mass Maritime Bucks. 5 wins in their 6 games after that 11-point loss to the Beacons. It really turned their season around, and they've won 4 in a row coming into this point. We just mentioned Mitchell Maeda. He is a 5'7" junior attackman out of Burlington, Mass. He leads the team in every offensive category, 38 goals, 29 assists. He also has scooped up 49 ground balls and even has caused 11 turnovers on the season. So he is a player whose name I will be calling quite a bit. He wears number 1, 5'7", but hard to miss for the Buccaneers. Also on the Bucks, they feature a duo of goal scorers in Spencer Jones and Nick LaMattina. Jones has scored 36 goals in just 12 games this season, so he's a threat, 43 points in total. And Nick LaMattina has not started a single game this season. He's a sophomore, but he's scored 32 goals in 16 games off the bench. We mentioned the scoring duo. There's also a dominating defensive duo to look out for with the Buccaneers. Leo Allgaier, senior captain, 16 games played, 16 games started. He scored 2 points offensively, but makes his contributions on the defensive end, 41 ground balls and 35 caused turnovers. And Patrick Lawson, the long stick midi, wearing number 36, another name to look out for. If we pull up the pregame stats side by side, you can see the statistical advantage very much in the Beacons' favor on the season. The Beaks, 315 goals scored compared to 192 for Mass Maritime. 755 ground balls won to 597. And remember, the Beaks have played one more game, but this is still quite a disparity. Caused turnovers, that's pretty close. 212 in 17 games to 183 in 16 games. And both teams very, very good in the face-off circle. The Beaks at 56.2% on the season, and Mass Maritime at 54.5%. So the Beaks, with, you would assume, the overall advantage, it went very well for the Beacons the last time these two teams played, and everything is rolling. The Beaks with just 2 losses on the season. They've both been losses on the road. And funny enough, both of those losses were 17-11 final scores. So there's going to be a lot of patterns broken if the Beacons were to fall in this semifinal. What awaits the Beacons if they do win this afternoon? Well, it will be a home game if they win. The Beaks being the number 1 seed, they're going to host everything here in the LEC. It'll be a game against the 2-3 winner, the number 2 seed Keene State College Owls and the number 3 seed West Con Wolves. The winner of that matchup is going to come here to Cotter Field on Saturday afternoon for the LEC Championship. National Anthem is about to get played here at Cotter Field, so we'll take a quick pause for it. And when we come back, starting lineups and the start of the LEC Conference Semifinals between your Beaks and the Mass Maritime Bucks. We'll be right back on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Kind of hard to hear the anthem today. There is a lot going on out here on the peninsula. We have a baseball game getting ready across the field from us, some high school sports behind us. It's a beautiful day out here on the peninsula, so there's people all around. Right in front of us at Cotter Field, the stands rather empty, but across from us, I think in the sun, we have a lot of fans on the far side of Cotter Field. Starting lineups here for this LEC Conference semifinal in the year 2022. First off, the Buccaneers for Mass Maritime, Mitchell Maeda, a junior attackman wearing number 1. Leo Allgaier, number 7, he is a junior defender. J.H. Coolahan, number 9 on his jersey, 9 goals on the season. He will be on the attack. Jack O'Donnell wears number 22. He is a defenseman for Mass Maritime. Matt Mullaney getting the start, a rare start for Matt, a sophomore out of Marshfield, Massachusetts, in the midfield. James Cassidy, a true freshman defender out of Weymouth, Mass. He wears number 26. Brian Rosher is the face-off specialist for the Bucks. He wears number 30. Sean Lowley, didn't get to talk about him yet. You will hear his name quite a bit. A true freshman, very impressive in goal for the Bucks. Patrick Lawson, the long stick midi, and Spencer Jones, the senior goal-scoring artist, 6'1", 225. He is a load out there on the field. That rounds out the starting lineup for the Buccaneers. For the Beacons, Chris Palin getting the start on defense. He's a 5'10 senior out of West Bridgewater, Mass. Luke Murphy getting the start in midfield. Gavin Admirand, the attack midfield combo out of Marshfield, Mass. Jack Ranta going to get the start at long stick midi. Patrick Carey and Patrick Colburn, the duo as usual on the defensive end. Michael Claflin and Jacob Banks in the midfield. Trevor Coppy getting the start in goal. And Jack Doberzinski lines up across from Brian Rosher as we are about to be underway here in the 2022 Little East Conference semifinals. And we will get it started with a face-off infraction against Doberzinski. Ball will be scooped up by Rosher, and Mass Maritime working right to left on your computer screen, wearing their road navies with white lettering on the attack as we get this contest started. Ryan Cameron coming into the action here on the attack, and he will slide a pass over to Nick Lamatina. 32 goals in the season. He will dodge from the far outside, fielded by Ranta. Gets a left-handed shot off, and that is a quick start for Mass Maritime as Lamatina goes high to low, and he beats Trevor Coppy in the 5-hole. 23 seconds in, and the Buccaneers an early goal to get them started. They lead 1-0. Nick Lamatina, we mentioned he hasn't started a game technically. He was on in the offensive substitution to get that offensive block started. Scores his 33rd goal of the season. And it puts Mass Maritime up over your Beacons 1-0. Exactly what the Beacons didn't want to see to get play started here this Thursday afternoon. And so now Jason McNeely into the faceoff circle. That ground ball still getting chopped at, not won by anybody. Ultimately taken out of trouble by that's Matt Mullaney of the Bucks. And back the other way comes Mass Maritime on the attack again. We mentioned the last time these two teams played, the Beacons did win 20-9, but there was an advantage in caused turnovers and faceoff percentage to Mass Maritime, suggesting that they were very much in the flow of that game, and it was the execution that kind of fell apart on them at the back end. But Mass Maritime now running the offensive show. Nick Lamatina, he just scored. The sophomore out of Groveland, Massachusetts, hands it off to Gage Coolahan. Coolahan sliding the pass over to Ryan Cameron, and back they go to Peter Ray. a slew of midfielders here on the Bucks getting action, and that's Peter Ray slipping in and getting a shot through a screen past Trevor Copy. And how about this? We're 75 seconds into this contest, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Buccaneers of Mass Maritime Academy. Peter Ray, the senior, with the goal. And for Peter, that's just his 6th goal of the season, and what a time to add a scoring spark to the Bucks. They lead 2-0. Trevor Copy in a bit of a goalie by committee with Christian Meinhold over the course of the season. You look at their numbers, and it was Copy with admittedly a bit more collectively impressive numbers. Meinhold with a bit of the momentum in terms of the better player towards the tail end of the season. So it wasn't a surprise to see Copy in goal, but this not the start Trevor wants, knowing that, it's a playoff game. You might be pulled short or leash rather quickly. Murphy beats a dodge. He swings a pass over to Claflin, and that is too easy. Murphy making it happen himself. Then he slides the pass over to Michael Claflin. Low slotted shot, and Michael, who has come alive, just scored his 48th goal of the season. You heard that right. Gavin Admiran leads the team with 55, but Claflin close on his tail, and the Beacons are back to within 1. 48th goal of the season for Claflin has the Beaks back in it, 2-1. That's exactly what the Beaks needed to see there. This is a team that they have a win against. You need to make a statement, even in the conference semifinals. It is survive and advance, but with the Beacons, a team expected to compete in the NCAA tournament, you have to win to get there, but you have to make a statement in the process to get the good matchups. McNeely forces the face-off infraction against Rocher. He knows it. He points right away, and so now here comes Matt Palin and the Beaks trying to tie this game up. Both teams 2 out of 4 in the face-off circle. We'll get our first look at the senior out of Walpole, Mass, Dara Fahey, working with a grad student, Donovan Przinski. 2 players that both celebrated their senior night. Here's Przinski, right-handed dodge, shot, scores in the top right-handed corner. That's how you do it. Donovan Przinski, and those 2 goals for the Beacons about 30 seconds apart. Senior leadership. First Claflin, then Przinski, and we are back tied up at 2-2. And guys, up here in the press box, we might have an offensive shootout this afternoon. I think we're all interested in that. Let's see if the Beacons can ramp it up on defense here, but a big goal for Donovan Przinski. He is 5th on the Beacons with goals scored. That is his 18th on the season, and the Beaks are tied back up at 2 apiece. Not quite sure what McNeely got whistled for there, but right after forcing the face-off infraction, he commits one. Rocher looking for his handoff. He gets it in the form of Nick Lamatina. And the sophomore out of Groveland, Massachusetts, already with 1 goal today, works with a left-handed dodge against Jack Ranta. He gets right past him. He looks for the shot. That one deflected by Copy. It'll go out of bounds. Closest to it is Spencer Jones, and so he will scoop it along the sidelines. And the Bucks for Mass Maritime going to restart. Both Palin brothers out there. This is Chris Palin fronting Spencer Jones. 225 pounds. He is an absolute house close to the net. Spins and he gets dispossessed. The ball is picked up by Patrick Carey. Although Carey almost loses it on the back end, and that's going to be an unforced error turnover for the Beacons. And now slipping in front of the net, wide open is Spencer Jones. That was a beautiful pass delivered in by Mitchell Maeda. He is an assist monster, and he gets his first assist of the afternoon on the first goal of the afternoon for Spencer Jones, his 37th of the season. This is just his 13th game. The man knows how to find the back of the net, and he does just then. Buccaneers back in front, 3-2. So we are moving quickly here at Cotter Field. 5 goals already in the game's first 3 minutes and 39 seconds. No, in the game's first 2 minutes and 39 seconds, pardon me. Mental math got the best of me just then. But how about that? That we're seeing a goal every 32 seconds in this contest. And not only is that going to be a face-off infraction against Jason McNeely, that's going to send him to the bin. So this will be our first differential opportunity, a 30-second man-up op for the Bucks, who are already leading your Beacons 3-2 here in the very early moments of the 2022 LEC Conference Semifinal at Cotter Field. Extra man on is Jack Iverson. He's a very impressive sophomore. 8 goals, 15 assists out of that distributor spot in the offense for the Buccaneers. Quick stoppage in play. Ball into Iverson, clock is wound, and here comes the 30-second man-up opportunity for Mass Maritime. Iverson, a little 2-man game with Nick Lamatina. They'll go back and forth along the hash mark before swinging it around the perimeter. Brandon Kozowitz into the action as well. Lamatina, he scored from that spot earlier. Low to high shot. The bounce is deflected nicely by Trevor Coppi, but closest to it is Mitchell Maeda. He got an assist on the last goal just from slipping a pass into Spencer Jones, just like they did right there. Instead, they'll whip it around the entire perimeter. Ball is almost lost. Patrick Carey making problems for Jack Iverson. He'll scoop it back up, swing it cross field. Kozowitz pass down low to Maeda. It's chopped free, giving chases Trevor Coppi out of net. Maeda has an open angle to the net, and he floats it in. Trevor Coppi with a mental error there. He thought he was closer to the ground ball. He loses the race to Mitchell Maeda, who just calmly loops it to a spot where he can find a lane into the net. He floats it in, and Mass Maritime, for the second time today, has a 2-goal lead. They are up 4-2. For Mitchell Maeda, his 39th goal of the season. We mentioned he leads the Bucks in every offensive category. He has 1 goal and 1 assist now this afternoon. And the Buccaneers of Mass Maritime Academy pacing the Beacons right now. Big win for the senior Jack Dobrzinski. He gets the win and now wins the dodge with the left hand. Jack only with 2 goals on the season there. He felt like he might have been a little spry and looking to run a dodge on the net. Instead, he'll swing it over to Palin. Chopping his feet here is Matt Palin. Right-handed cradle. He'll look behind the net to Gavin Admiran. Gavin with 55 goals coming into action today to go along with 35 assists. Long look out to Dara Fahey and Donovan Przinski, one of 2 Beacons goal scorers so far today. Looks back to Fahey. Fahey's going to wind and fire in a beautiful save across from Sean Lally, but there's a penalty right in front of the net. Taking a shot on the play is Michael Claflin reaching for his back. Good eyes up here from our director, Maria Spilio, is looking over. There's a new goalie in net. Christian Meinhold, we mentioned he was kind of taking the momentum away from Trevor Coppi towards the end of the regular season. And now with the 4 goals allowed in the first 3.5 minutes off Coppi, it is the new goalie, Christian Meinhold, the sophomore out of Boxborough, Mass, in net for the Beaks. Fahey gets a pick from Charlie Chapman. He'll swing it back out and pass it back out to Chapman. Beacons will go left to right now and get it to Donovan Przinski. Przinski, right-handed cradle, right-handed dodge, gets turned away. No man-up opportunity here for the Beacons, but nice chance to reset their offense after that missed shot from Fahey. He looks to think shot here. He'll keep the cradle alive. Angled shot from Przinski is winded up over the crossbar, but Chapman is right there. Charlie will scoot over to the back corner of the field and quickly run this one back into play. Just 27 seconds on the shot clock here for the Beacons. So should be plenty of opportunity to generate a look that they want to see. Chapman draws the double team, swings it over to Przinski. They have Claflin wide open down low, and his shot is deflected out of bounds by Sean Lally. Nice response. Second save of the afternoon here. Beacons are on the doorstep, but now just 15 seconds left in the shot clock. Chaplin spinning. Left-handed shot goes low to high. It'll bounce out of bounds, and now the Beacons with just 10 seconds on the shot clock. Jacob Banks not in the best position to initiate this attack, so let's see what Coach Lowe and the Beacons have drawn up here. Banks slots it out to Przinski. Przinski dodges, has Claflin towards the middle. That pass deflected, and it'll be scooped up by Sean Lally. So a nice defensive possession by the Buccaneers. They bleed 78 seconds on the shot clock. Beacons 3 chances on goal, 3 saves from Sean Lally, and now rumbling back down the field for the Bucks is Owen Donahue. Whistle on the play, and no timeout called, I don't think. I think there might have been like a substitution infraction that we were looking at here. Is heading back towards the bench area is Nick Lamatina. He'll stay on the field. Okay, so everybody that is on the field now are the players who are supposed to be on the field. 6 on either side, and so we are back underway here at Cotter Field. If you're just tuning in, not an ideal start for the Beacons. 4 different goal scorers for Mass Maritime Academy. They scored 4 in the first 3.5 minutes of action, chasing Beacons goalie Trevor Coppi. Now the Beacons, a very important possession, having just allowed 2 straight goals, really needing to ratchet up the defensive pressure here. As Mitchell Maeda, 1 goal and 1 assist already this afternoon, waiting for the go-ahead in the deep corner. Christian Meinhold has just entered this contest in net for the Beaks. Right now, looking at the field of play, Colburn, Elijah Beasley, Matt and Chris Palin, Patrick Carey, and Justin McCullough, the 6 in the defensive zone for the Beaks right now. The 3 players On the offensive side of the field, Gavin Admiran, Michael Claflin, and Charlie Chapman. Let's see, it's a shot clock issue, actually, that is why we have this stoppage in play. We saw, actually, from our spot up here in the press box that there was some spottiness to the reactivity of the shot clock. A ball would go out of bounds with 12 seconds left, and then by the time play starts, the clock read 8. That happened a couple of times. So while they get the shot clock taken care of, and I think that will require moving it to midfield, we'll take a quick break and be right back. This is a timeout that the Beacons really need here, trailing 4-2, 9:56 left in the first quarter when we come back on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. That little break gave us a chance to catch our breaths. If you're just tuning in, Beacons are trailing 4-2 right now. Nick LaMattina, Peter Ray, Spencer Jones, Mitchell Maeda, 4 goal scorers so far for the Buccaneers. Michael Claflin is 48th of the season. Donovan Przinski, his 18th, the 2 goals scored for the Beaks up to this point. Buccaneers with the ball on the attack. And I do believe that's right. They're going to have like a brand new shot clock here as they were able to bleed the Beacons basically 72 seconds through a shot clock. The Beacons got 3 different opportunities, 3 big saves made by the freshman goalkeeper, Sean Lally. He's been a revolution for the Buccaneers. He was not the starting goaltender at the beginning of the season, came in as a freshman. He started 12 games this season, including 10 of the last 12, and he's 7-5 in his 12 starts, a 50% save percentage, and a 10.61 goals allowed average. In comparison to the other goalkeeper on the roster, Victor Wright, whose goals allowed average is up to 14 on the season, and he has a 2-6 win-loss record. Pardon me, a 2-4 win-loss record. So quite the change, quite the turnaround, quite the change of events for the Buccaneers this season, the development in net. And Lally, you've already seen his presence pay dividends up to this point. 3 big saves here as everybody making their way across the field here. We're down to 1 official shot clock now. So take the 2 out of the quarters, send 1 to midfield. Maybe, potentially. Okay, we don't have the shot clock situation settled yet, so we'll take another break. I promise we're close to Lacrosse again here. We still have 9:56 left to go in the first quarter at James Cotter Field. More after this. Hopefully not so long after this, on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. All right, the whistle blows, and we are back underway after quite an extended break of play. The shot clock is resituated. Now you guys are going to be able to see it that much easier on the broadcast. But here are the Bucks on offense, leading 4-2. They've scored in 4 of 5 sustained offensive possessions up to this point. The model of efficiency is Gage Coulihan works it around the right perimeter. Down low to Peter Ray. And now an extended dodge here, almost losing possession with the ball is Ryan Cameron working against Palin. Cameron, shoulder dodge, gets cut off, scoops that one through, and let's see, can Christian Meinhold win the race to the ball? Yes, he does. No, he does not. Okay, I thought he won the race. Instead, shot clock's going to get reset, and Mitchell Maeda going back to work. He already has a goal in his assist. Spinning, looking for the angled shot. Big save by Meinhold, just reaching up, using that big frame, and then calmly scooping the ball out of trouble. That's nice to see. Point for Coach Lowe going with the pull that early and bringing Christian Meinhold into the action. 1 attempt, 1 save. And here come the Beacons quickly back on the other end. Matt Palin goes left to right with his dodge. Don't usually see Matt try to initiate a goal-scoring opportunity. He's a bit more of a distributor. He hands it back towards Luke Murphy. We've seen Murphy have success dodging from midfield before. He gets cut off by a double team. He slings it over to Myers. Myers, his pass is deflected, tipped right back into the middle of the defense, and that is a bad turnover for the grad student who just entered the contest. Now Chad Kidd retreats to offer some defensive help in the face of Matt Mullaney. Mullaney backtracks. This game finally finding a bit of a back-and-forth balance after just goal after goal after goal. Six goals, scored in the first 3.5 minutes of action this afternoon. Here's Brandon Kozowitz. Gets past Myers. Not looking to do much with it. He takes it down the side, spins back around. Cross-field pass will line up for the big shot. Right on the spot is Patrick Carey, but he can't scoop up the ground ball. It was a big save by Meinhold. So trying again with it is Kozowitz. This time that shot just misses everything here, and the Beacons close to it. So finally, back-to-back defensive stops for the Beacons. That has to feel good for everybody involved with this game to see the Beacons able to just put together a couple of good defensive possessions, because this game was not off to the best start. That was a pass intended for Dara Fahey. Can he catch back up to it? Admiran with the hustle, and it'll keep it alive for Fahey. And now Fahey's spinning, and the Beacons not with momentum, but with an open Admiran, or pardon me, that's Jacob Banks who hustled to keep it alive. Banks still going forward, bowls through the defender. Fahey picks it up. Man open is Brzezinski, and finally a whistle on the backside of the play. It's going to be a timeout called by Coach Lowe as the Beacons, with numbers, almost threw the possession away back in the corner. Then an amazing two-man effort out of Jacob Banks and Dara Fahey to keep it alive. They almost turned it over again. Coach Lowe has seen enough. His number 1 seeded Beacons team, trailing 4-2 right now. 4 midfield turnovers already. They have, to their credit, it's been 4 consecutive minutes without an offensive opportunity for the Buccaneers, but not really moving the needle themselves on the offensive end. So a timeout on the field, which means we'll take a quick break. 7:26 left to go here in the first quarter. Still early going, but the Beacons trail by 2. It's Mass Maritime 4, UMass Boston 2, and we'll be right back on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Yes.
I feel like this is always how semifinals happen on Carter Field, no matter the sport. Yeah.
We'll wind it back 50 seconds on the shot clock as we rejoin the action here. 7:20 on a running clock in the first quarter at Cotter Field, with your Beacons trailing by 2 in the opening moments of this conference semifinals. And another uncharacteristic mistake. Jacob Banks with some good positioning, and Charlie Chapman couldn't get the pass to him. I don't know if that was a lax pass attempt or what, but a turnover from Chapman. And now back the other way, walking it up is goaltender Sean Lally. Lally, a 5'10 freshman out of Marion, Massachusetts. He will take it all the way across the timeline before feeling that defensive pressure of Justin McCullough and retreating. One of the best on-ball defenders for the Beacons. Instead, it'll open up a charge in for Nick LaMattina, who scores for his second time today and the 34th time of the season. And how about that? The starting goaltender is going to get an assist. That was just as simple as Sean Lally walking it across the midfield line to set up the 6. He drew his defender, which basically opened up the opportunity for LaMattina to run right down the field and just beat a one-man mark. He did, and for the 34th time this season and the second time today, Nick LaMattina has found twine. And the Buccaneers, their biggest lead of the contest, 5-2 over the Beaks. 6:54 still left here in the first quarter. Dobrzinski going low, winning the faceoff rather easily against Brian Rocher, taking it out of trouble. And now here comes Dobrzinski. He'll take a lane for the shot, misses wide to the right, but two Beacons close to it. It's going to be Jacob Banks scooping, and the Beacons reinitiating their offense. Buccaneers 2, Beacons 5, Luke Murphy with it deep along the right hash. He'll swing it over to Donovan Przinski, grad student seeing a lot of burn here, a lot of usage in the early going. Fahey wins with a jab step. Left-handed shot goes wide, but once again, Jacob Banks closest to it. Originally in this season, that spot directly behind the goal was Gavin Admirans to work and operate out of. Now Jacob Banks has seen a lot of time back there as well, and capitalized in the goal-scoring department with it. How about Luke Murphy spinning past his defender? Might have had an angle for a split second. Instead, Claflin goes behind the net to Fahey. Fahey, thinking about the right-handed shot, goes back to Claflin behind the net. This draws some defenders out. It opens up a shot for Przinski, who finds twine. Long shot for Donovan Przinski, his second goal of the day. And how about the patience between Fahey and Claflin? Claflin gets the assist as all the defenders shaded towards the net. Przinski was wide open with that lane in the slot, and he delivers a long goal for Donovan Przinski, his second of the game and his 19th of the year. Very clutch performance out of number 4 so far, and the Beacons back to within 2. It's Bucks 5, Beacons 3. Saw Dobrzinski won his previous face-off battle. Now he wins again and spins to beat the mark. Here comes Ranta down low to Banks, and Banks not ready for the pass. Oh, the Beacons were close to another scoring opportunity there, but Ranta's pass, a little too much mustard on it. It gets by Jacob Banks, and the 6th turnover in the offensive zone. Already, that's too many for a conference semifinal game. And now here comes Sean Lally. He won't get fronted by the 3 on the offensive end of the field for the Beacons. Now he's going to run right down the middle of the seam. He feels the contact and he scores. Unbelievable. A first quarter for the ages has now seen a goaltender goal, and it's Sean Lally. He did have 1 assist on the season. He has 1 assist today, and now he has a goal. His first of his collegiate career, and he scores it in the LEC conference semifinals, putting the Buccaneers up 6-3. Wow is right up here in the press box. I think that's all we can say on that. The crowd here for Mass Maritime, they're the ones that you hear right now. It is a loud presence, not that long of a drive up from Buzzards Bay, about an hour, and beautiful day. Might as well come and watch some lacrosse, and they're letting their voices be heard as Sean Lally has given the Bucks their second 3-goal lead of the day. Claflin, this would be a big goal there, and he misses it high into the left, but once again, Banks is where he needs to be, and the Beacons will reset their offense with 71 on the shot clock. It's going to be Jacob Banks surveying the scene here as Chad Kidd comes on as the 6th offensive man. He will take it in the center of the field off the feed from Banks. Right-handed dodge for Kidd. The senior out of Natick looks towards the middle for Claflin. Claflin can field it cleanly, but now the pass intended behind the net. Lally in some trouble in the back corner. He gets it. Oh, I thought that was a pass thrown away. Instead, he gets it over to his defensive comrade in the middle of the field, Jack O'Donnell. They'll get it out of trouble, but now Patrick Colburn's going to force the turnover. Big play by number 17 as MMA had a chance to threaten their 7th goal of the first quarter here. Instead, they commit a turnover. The Beacons won the game against Mass Maritime thanks to a huge second quarter. They outscored Mass Maritime in the first time they played 7-0 in the second quarter, and they're going to need to see an effort like that to get back into this contest here. Fahey fields a bit of a double team. He beats Kevin Lynch with a jab step, but he'll circle it back out and get it to Donovan Przinski, who's been the hot hand on offense for the Beacons today. Over to Kidd. Kidd creates some room, has the angle, looks back towards the middle of the field. That pass intended for Banks and just nothing doing for the Beacons on the offensive end right now. They're getting it down close to the net, but then some ill-fated pass attempts trying to sneak it through the defense, and instead, back the other way, rumbling on in is Owen Donahue. On the left wing, is that Cameron? No, it's not. It's Gage Coulihan. And it looks like a bit of a personnel change in mind here for the Buccaneers as Coulihan waits and hands it off to Peter Ray. Ray scored earlier in this first quarter, just his 6th goal of the season, but that was the 2nd goal of the afternoon. It put the Beacons up, or put the Buccaneers up 2-0, and really announced their presence this afternoon. They are still the team pushing the issue here. Lamatina's got 2 goals today, make it 3. The left-handed high-to-low shot from Nick Lamatina. And the sophomore midfielder out of Groveland, Mass. Has a hat trick and 35 goals on the season now. And we have a football score here, and a rather uncomfortable one at that. The Beacons are trailing 7-3. Nick Lamatina, a goal-scoring threat. We mentioned before the game that he has not started any games this season for Mass Maritime. Still pocketed 32 goals on the season, and he looks like he's been on the field almost every second of play here today at Cotter Field. Making the most of the playing time today. Wholesale substitutions on offense for the Buccaneers after another face-off infraction committed by the Beaks. 1-for-1 on man-up opportunities are the Buccaneers today, and they will have another one. They almost committed a turnover there, but a nice finish as well. Wow, that was all the effort of Jack Iverson, the sophomore on the play. He had to contort a bit to keep that play alive. He got the pass over to... I'm not sure if he's going to get credited with that goal or if it's going to be Lamatina, but that was all Iverson setting up the play. And the score is 8-3 right now. Mass Maritime up. A face-off infraction badly needed for the Beacons committed by the Bucks as Iverson, his 9th goal of the season. Beacons are trailing 8-3. Still 3 minutes left in this first quarter. It basically seems like it's been going on forever. Wow, heads-up play by Jacob Banks, just taking on all comers, somehow keeping that cradle alive. Ultimately getting it out of trouble, but now Luke Murphy going to try a different approach here on the dodge. Spinning off his dodge, left-handed. Circle it back to Dara Fahey. Fahey, instead of taking a screen, he's going to chop through. And a big goal by Dara Fahey, his first of the afternoon. He goes high to low. That one was almost saved by Sean Lally, but Fahey picks the bottom left corner. A very crucial goal in the flow of this game. The 37th of the season for Fahey. And the Beaks, they're going to have to chip away right now, but they are. They're back to within 4. It's Buccaneers 8, Beacons 4. 12 goals already scored in this first quarter. And we still have 2 minutes and 49 seconds left. I mean, this is an unprecedented pace offensively for the Buccaneers, who average 12 goals scored a contest. Beacons average 19 a game, and they're still off that pace right now. Loose ball chopped at. That's a big play by Jack Ranta. If the Beacons can come up with it, Dobrzinski gets it, and he wins the ground ball. He's over 100 ground balls won on the season. Now they'll cycle it around. Ranta thinks better of that as Palin was marked pretty well, and now the Beacons are going to hold this offensive possession up, get a couple more attackmen onto the field. Matt Palin waits. He'll hand it off to Donovan Przinski and come off. Przinski has Claflin, Admiran, Fahey, and Jacob Banks, and now Charlie Chapman joining the offensive zone. That's the 6 on the offensive side of the field for the Beaks. Chapman looks over to Przinski. Donovan's got 2 today. Chops his feet, little right-handed dodge. He'll curve it around behind the net. Eyes trained towards the middle of the field, towards a streaking Fahey. Pass isn't corralled by Fahey, but a great effort by Chapman there to get it before it rolls across the midfield line. So now Charlie, one-on-one dodge opportunity. He wins. He gets hammered on the shot attempt. The Beacons are going to win the race to the ball, but no flag on the play. Thought Charlie drew the penalty there. Instead, good man defense out of the Buccaneers. Oh, across the net. Here's Banks in a dangerous position. It's going to take on his mark, and a strong goal by Jacob Banks. He lowers the shoulder into Evan Duig. He loses his stick, and then all Banks had to do was pick a spot. He goes right over the top right shoulder of Sean Lally. And the first goal of the afternoon and the 34th of the season for Jacob Banks couldn't come at a better time. The super sophomore whose scoring touch has come alive in the second half of this season. Nets won, and the Beacons, just the second time they've scored 2 consecutive goals here in the flow of the contest. They're doing what they need to do. They're chipping back in. And finally, we'll have a man-up opportunity here. The infraction going against Brian Rocher, the freshman face-off specialist. So the Beacon's going to bring their entire personnel onto the field here. I'm not sure. Do we have a timeout called on the play? No. Reviewing the action so far, the largest lead of the first quarter has been a 5-goal lead. That was after Jack Iverson scored his 9th goal of the season. Mass Maritime 2 for 2 on their man-up opportunities this afternoon. This is going to be the first chance for the Beaks. As we were just under 100 seconds left in the first quarter. So here come the Beaks with a man-up. Brian Rocher in the sin bin. Around the perimeter they go. Our first look at Greg Wolf on the field this afternoon. Around the perimeter. Fahey behind the net to Wolf. Wolf, left-handed shot low to high, and he picks the top right corner. 3 straight goals for the Beacons, who have finally gotten off the bus and arrived for the game today, or rather, they finally finished their walk in from the Clark Athletic Center. That's the 28th goal of the season for Greg Wolf, and a pretty one at that. You know he has that beautiful-looking left-handed shot. This time he starts it low, finishes tucked into the top right corner. Goal number 28, and the Beacons, 3 in a row. They're chipping away. They're back to within 2. It is a man-up goal for Greg Wolf. And it's Buccaneers 8, Beacons 6. All 3 man-up opportunities have resulted in a goal scored. The first time these two teams played, UMass Boston 3-5 in man-up opportunities. MMA was 1 of 5 in their 5 man-up opportunities. We are at the 1-minute mark in a first quarter, which has seen a lot of goals, a lot of action, a lot of mistakes. But the Beacons finally strengthening up here. 4 goals allowed in the first 3.5 minutes by Trevor Coppy. Christian Meinhold has come in. He's allowed 4 himself. Bit of a stronger presence in net these past 10 minutes as Spencer Jones picks a corner and finds it. Big number 40 for the second time today stops the Beacons' momentum just like that. And number 40 scores number 38. That is the 38th goal in just 12 games now for Spencer Jones. And it puts MMA up by 3 for the third time today. They go up 9-6. Little conference in front of the net here as it looks like Trevor Coppy is now back in net for the Beacons. So a bit of a handoff, a baton passing, if you will, back and forth. Dobrzinski lost it for a second, then scoops it up and now has some momentum as Chris Palin looking for his man in the middle of the field. It's Luke Murphy. Murphy in the middle, shot just misses high. That would have been a huge answer goal for the Beaks. But Gavin Admiran will scurry behind the net and pick it up. 33 seconds left in the first quarter here. Fahey. Wins the dodge easily with a jab step. Goes inside. 2 sticks in front of the net here, and Lally makes the save as Fahey tried to take on a double team. Got past his defender, but couldn't beat the goalkeeper, Lally. Rushing it to the timeline, Kevin Lynch, as the offensive personnel making its way onto the field for the Buccaneers. LaMattina tries to shovel one across play. It looks to be out of bounds. Yes, it will. 9 seconds left. Looks like that clock stopped about a second late, so it'll be 8 seconds on the nose here. As Elijah Beasley going to launch one into Luke Murphy. Murphy's got 4 seconds. They can get a shot on to Admiran. No, I thought Gavin fielded it cleanly instead. It gets past Gavin, and the time will expire for the first quarter. It was a lot of action, a lot of goals. Unfortunately, some action that Beacons fans didn't want to see. And the Beacons are going to have to go back to the drawing board for quarters number 2 through 4. We'll take a quick break here. We are through 15 minutes of lacrosse. Mass Maritime leads the Beacons 9-6. Well, before we get into the action of the second quarter, we'll take a quick look around Beaconville. Two teams in action today, and we're looking ahead towards the weekend of this Saturday, May 5th. Men's tennis in the LEC Conference Semis against Rhode Island College. Right now, that is a 1-4 matchup. It started at noon today. That's still going on. And getting ready at Monon Park right across the field from us, baseball hosting Nichols College. That game will get started at 3 o'clock. That's what's happening around Beaconville. Now, to the more immediate action right in front of us here at Cotter Field. Beacon's trailing as we head into the second quarter, 9-6. Yeah, 9 goals scored in the first quarter by Mass Maritime, a team that averages 12 goals scored per contest and only broke the 20-goal mark 2 times this season. They're on pace to do that and then some right now. 2 goals out of Spencer Jones, 3 goals out of Nick Lamatina. And the Beacons, despite a 2-goal effort out of Donovan Przinski in the first quarter, kind of staring into the abyss here, if you will. This is a 15-2 season for the Beacons. Been tested with a couple of wins. There was that 14-13 win against Keene State earlier this season. The first game of the season was a tough-fought overtime win against Nichols College. But a lot of substantial victories. And this is, right when everything matters, when it turns into win or go home. There's no way to sugarcoat this. A rather horrible start for the Beacons. Let's see what this team is made out of. There are plenty of seniors on this sideline here. Plenty of voices to listen to. Great coaching. How do the Beacons respond? We mentioned that they beat the Buccaneers 7-0 in the second quarter, the first time these two teams played, and that Dobrzinski ground ball win is a big first step to get the Beacons back in front in this contest. Luke Murphy. Oh, he gets through a couple defenders with some nifty moves. Luke Murphy dipsy-doing through the Buccaneers for his first goal of the contest, and that's got to feel good. The Beacons don't win the faceoff, but they force a turnover, collect the ground ball, and then Luke Murphy, who more and more as this season goes on, you just feel really confident when the ball's in his hands. He beats 2 different Buccaneers defenders on spin move dodges and then beats Sean Lally over the top left shoulder. Big goal for Luke Murphy, his first of the afternoon, his 14th of the season, and the Beaks back to within 2. Beacons got back to within 2, but then Spencer Jones scored right at the end of the first quarter. That put the Buccaneers up 9-6. Rumbling through here without a mark is a save made by Copy, and wow, that was a loose ball. Brian Rosher doesn't score all that often out of the face-off circle spot. Almost scored his 5th of the afternoon, rumbling on through, but a big save by Copy. And then winning the race to the ball was Matt Palin. And so the Beacons now, 1 chance for a stop, 1 successful stop. And how about Patrick Colburn just rumbling into the fray? He gets dispossessed from the ball, but he uses that big body to keep it alive. And Gavin Admiran, Johnny on the spot, running in and successfully winning control. Haven't heard much out of Gavin yet. They've done a good job locking him up, but how about Jacob Banks in his absence? His second goal of the afternoon. Claflin's going to get the assist there as that happens so quickly. Banks around a curl, and he just tucks it inside the right post. His second of the afternoon and 35th of the season. Some great goal-scoring numbers across the board for the Beaks, and their offense is coming alive. They're back to within 1. Buccaneers lead the Beacons 9-8. McNeely and Dobrzinski doing a great job in the face-off circle this afternoon, especially from the second half of the first quarter and on. And another win for McNeely, looking for Murphy. Murphy splitting through the middle of the defense. Oh, and we almost tied it back up. Murphy had a shot. He misses it wide right to the right side of the post. But the Beacons very much back into the flow of this contest now. And Gavin Admirand initiating the offense from behind the net. They'll walk Gavin over to the back right corner. A little bit of a surge in the cheers out of the Mass Maritime fan base here at Cotter Field, trying to get their Bucks back into it. Buccaneers haven't trailed this contest. We had one tie. The game got tied up back at 2-2, and that's the closest the Beacons have been to winning a lead. Admiran feels the double team, but he'll keep this play alive. Przinski giving chase. Przinski can't pick it up. Ultimately, I do believe Admiran's going to get whistled for that shove from behind, and yes, he will. It was a late whistle, but you kind of expected it after seeing how Gavin freed up that space for himself. Shot clock will reset unless I missed what the call was there. So that's going to be a Ward. It's going to restart the possession for the Beaks, so pardon me. Personnel is changed in the defensive end for the Buccaneers, and I guess that's it. Really just a glorified substitution after that. So it's just a Ward. The Beaks will keep possession. Claflin over to Greg Wolf. He's got 1 goal this afternoon. Gavin Admiran now in the midfield spot. Over to Przinski, to Wolf. This is spreading out the Buccaneers defense. It almost forces a turnover, but look for maybe a little slip to open up inside. Przinski's going to try and tie it from a rip out on the slot, and a nice save there for Sean Lally, his first of this second quarter. We're 2 minutes in. 2 goals already scored by the Beacons here in the second quarter. And that pass to no one in particular. It's going to get scooped up by Chris Palin. Looking across the field, he has Luke Murphy, and the Beacons have numbers if they hurry. Claflin, down low. Fahey, oh, beautiful fake, and he goes easily between the 5-hole, and we have tied this back up. It's the usual suspects. Michael Claflin, his 3rd assist of the afternoon, setting up Dara Fahey, his 2nd goal of the afternoon, and 38th of the season. And finally, the Beacons have erased that monstrous 5-goal deficit. This game was once 8-3, and we are now tied back up at 9 apiece. If anything, how about points for the Beacons' mental toughness? Falling behind 8-3, and looking at the clock, that really only took about 7 minutes of game time to get themselves back tied up. Face-off infraction committed by the Beaks, and so now this is going to be the Buccaneers' first opportunity to kind of change the crest, change the tides, change their fortunes here. I don't think they even expected to get off to as hot of a start. I mean, 2 different spans of 3 goals within 90 seconds of each other. They had a 3-goal spurt that increased their lead from 2-2 to 5-2. Those were about 90 seconds apart. And then once the game was 5-3, they extended the lead to 8-3 in about 2 minutes' time. So it's been some really streaky scoring pockets for the Bucks, and that's a big play by Trevor Coppy, who finds himself back in the net as Mitchell Maeda was threatening at the near post. Coppy makes the save. It goes out of bounds off him, though, and so possession stays with the Bucks. They still have 67 to shoot on the shot clock. That's Nick LaMattina, 3 goals already this afternoon. Backing it out in the direction of Brandon Kozowitz. Kozowitz rips and he hits the chest of Trevor Coppy. Big save by Coppy. Running the race to the ball and winning the race to the ball is Kozowitz. And he'll walk it back in. We've actually seen a lot out of Brandon Kozowitz. Freshman out of Madison, Connecticut. He does have 14 goals on the season. Yet to find twine today, but getting himself involved on the offensive end for the Buccaneers. He'll rip the pass across, and then down low they go to Maeda. Maeda to the middle of the field. It's deflected by McCullough, tipped but not corralled. And now McCullough giving chase. He can't dispossess LaMattina from the backside. Down low they look, and that is too easy all day. Jack Iverson, another assist, and that's the first goal of the afternoon for Gage Coulihan. Coulihan, 15 goals coming into action today. That is number 16 on the season. And the Beacons still riding the wave of momentum. But Maritime, nice job answering. 2 times now the Beacons have been able to tie the contest but not take the lead as Coulihan's 16th of the season makes it a 10-9 game. Buccaneers back in front. Towards the end of the season, as we look back towards the face-off circle, it was Jason McNeely kind of winning the face-off man job from the grad student Jack Dobrzinski. We mentioned Jack Dobrzinski, a bit better run of it today, although he loses that face-off there. Now on the attack is Ryan Cameron for the Buccaneers. Cameron fronted by Chris Palin. Max Ranta offering some assistance. They almost dispossess Cameron. He'll swing a pass over in the direction of Dale Donovan. Now Donovan dodging in from deep along the midfield. Looks down low to Mitchell Maeda. Maeda gets right around Chris Palin. The angled shot blocked. Coppy directing traffic. Colburn can't get it. It's chopped at by Carey. Giving a chase is Matt Palin. And Palin's effort is going to win the ball back for the Beacons. Big ground ball there for Matt Palin. And now he finds Jack Ranta splitting through a wide open seam. Ranta is going to stay on his side of the field. He comes off for Chapman. Patrick Carey kind of halfway between stalling to let the offense take the field and maybe setting up a look for himself. He'll hand it off to Chapman. Chapman surveys the seam and starts his dodge from the 25-yard line. He spins around, has room for the right-handed shot. Now he gets a pick from Admiran. Around the net, and Charlie scores. Top right corner. A beautiful, it's not going to count as an assist, but a beautiful assist on the pick set by Gavin Admiran. It frees up the defensive room for Charlie Chapman to turn the corner. He picks the top right corner, and he picks right. And the 19th goal of the season for Charlie Chapman ties us back up at 10 apiece. What a game we have brewing this afternoon at James Conner Field as both teams came ready to play in this conference semifinal. We are not even 20 minutes through this contest yet. We're 19 minutes and 10 seconds into this game, and we have a combined 20 goals already. Beacons have tied the game up 3 separate times. They haven't won the lead yet, but they're going to get the ball back here after an off-ball penalty committed by Evan Doig. Luke Murphy's going to walk it in, and here we go. Can the Beaks finally take the lead here in this lovely Thursday afternoon at Conner Field? Przinski dancing on in, fakes the pass across the middle, it gets deflected, Banks giving chase, he won't get there in time. We already saw Jacob Banks give a superhuman effort in the back right corner to keep a ball alive, and he offered it again there. Did not get to it and he wouldn't have. I mean, he would have lost a lot of skin on the running track if he tried to dive and save that ball, but you like to see the hustle out of the sophomore number 23. This is Sean Lally, who is the starting goaltender for Mass Maritime and has scored a goal this afternoon. Those two things not mutually exclusive. Looking across the field, and he sets up his long stick midi with a charge into the net and a goal. No, that hits straight off the crossbar. I thought it tucked inside. How about that? Almost a goal for Leo Allgaier. Instead, here come the Beaks the other way. My apologies. Hits right off the crossbar, and now Claflin working on his man, James Cassidy. Michael can't win the dodge, so he'll walk it back. Some new offensive personnel on the field here for the Beaks. Claflin gets it to Charlie Chapman, who looks over, and it's Dara Fahey. The wave of midfielders running in, Fahey, Chapman, and Claflin, as Fahey feels the stick of the on-ball defender, Ryan Cameron, spins around him, gets a pick set from Banks, looks for the angled shot, there's nothing there. Plenty of time on the shot clock now as Fahey goes back to Claflin, who gets it to Charlie Chapman. Chapman fakes the pass down low, keeps the cradle alive. Now he'll work the wide angle. Claflin spinning. 9 minutes left here in this second quarter. A tie game here in the LEC Conference semifinals. Donovan Przinski looks down low, gets it to Michael Claflin. Claflin ducks his head, goes low, and he beats Sean Lally 5-hole. Michael Claflin, a beautiful goal. He made it look like he was going to use his body to create the separation. Then he didn't take any separation. He just goes low. Beautiful shot placement. It's the second goal of the afternoon for Michael Claflin. He has 49 on the season. That is awesome. Claflin 1 goal away from being the second Beacons goal scorer on the year. Gavin Admiran, the team's leading goal scorer, 55 goals. We haven't heard from him yet. That's got to be a beautiful sign for the Beacons here, getting their offensive work done without any help yet out of Gavin Admiran. Dobrzinski wins the faceoff, rumbles through, and he scores! Jack Dobrzinski giving the Beacons a 2-goal lead, wasting no time. His 3rd goal of the season, running down Broadway, down the center of the field here at James Conner Field. 7 goals have been scored in this second quarter, and 6 of them by the Beacons. Finally, they woke up out of that early game slumber, and Jack Dobrzinski, for the 3rd time this season, finds twine. He has 10 points now on the season, 3 goals to go along with 7 assists, and the Beacons are up 12-10. It's kind of a dirty game, is it, the sport of lacrosse, that you can just score a beautiful face-off win goal and then come off and lose a face-off. But actually, the effort from Dobrzinski is going to keep the ball alive to Luke Murphy. Murphy loses it for a second. He corrals it. Keeps his cradle alive. Cross-field pass intended for Matt Palin. He can't corral it, but Claflin does. Claflin zips a pass over. Quick hands for Murphy, and it's a big save by Lally. Almost scooped out of midair by Jacob Banks, but Lally coming back alive. He had a great first quarter. Can't say the same for him the second quarter, but a big save there. And back rumbling the other way is Evan Doig, the long stick midi for Mass Maritime. Doig looks over to Mitchell Maeda. And you kind of felt this coming. A timeout is going to be called by head coach Rick Bagby. Remember, The Beacons were behind 8-3 in this contest, and from that point, they have outscored Mass Maritime 9-2. We'll cover all the goal scoring at halftime because there's a lot. We don't want to get into this right now, but just know the Beacons are leading 12-10 without a goal yet scored by their leading goal scorer, Gavin Admiran. He hasn't scored yet. Beacons are still leading 12-10. Mass Maritime takes the timeout, each team with one timeout remaining in this first half, and we'll take a quick break. 8:09 left to go in the second quarter. Beacons 12, Bucks 10. I do, yeah. Back here at James Conner Field, the Beacons were leading 12-10. We've played 22 minutes of lacrosse, and we've seen 22 goals scored. Folks, that's not the norm, especially for a conference semifinals game, but everybody who loves offense, well, you've seen quite a bit of it. Mass Maritime returning out of this timeout, one that they needed. They've allowed 6 of the 7 goals scored here in the second quarter. At one point, they were leading 8-3. Now trailing your Beacons 12-10. Spencer Jones tried to make it happen by himself there. Shot goes wide out of bounds. Mitchell Maeda chops his feet. Starts his dodge. Oh, beautiful spin move. And he completes the goal on the angle. Mitchell Maeda, for the second time today, he did that one all by himself. The footwork freed up the space, but then you still had to deposit the goal, and Maeda kept the stick high and kept the shot high and goes on a crazy angle, picks the top right corner, and gets the Bucks, again, back to within 1. This is a scrappy bunch, and it doesn't look like they plan on going anywhere. 40th goal of the season for Mitchell Maeda. He is now also across the 70-point mark. He has 2 goals and 1 assist this afternoon. He is a 70-point scorer this season, so congratulations to the junior out of Burlington, Mass. Luke Murphy going to have to scamper back across the center timeline here. Ultimately, the Beacons do win that faceoff, but Murphy going to be pestered by a pair of defenders, and that's going to be a foul. Yeah, it happened right in front of the referee, and the aforementioned Mitchell Maeda commits the second penalty of the afternoon for Mass Maritime. So now both teams with 2 penalties. This is going to be a 60-second man-up opportunity for the Beacons here. Jack Iverson and Mitchell Maeda scored the 2 man-up goals for Mass Maritime, and it was Greg Wolf scoring the man-up goal for the Beacons back in the first quarter. So the penalty going to go against Mitchell Maeda. Not sent to the sin bin all that often. In fact, this is the first penalty committed by Maeda all season. So how about that? They draw the foul on the big playmaker, number 1, and now 60 seconds with a man up. Beacons got to take advantage here, leading by just 1. Oh, beautiful pass finds Greg Wolf, and he makes an effort as second man up goal of the afternoon. Instead, the save made by Sean Lally. His 3rd save now of the second quarter. That's a big one as the shot clock resets here. And Lally looks towards the middle of the field. He's going to try and spring his man with a pass, an ill-fated pass. Brzezinski picks it up, was looking in the direction of Claflin. Instead, that would have been a goal if Claflin fields it cleanly. Instead, Claflin circles back to the right sideline, gets it from Fahey. Cross-field pass and a big save by Lally. If that one would have gotten to Greg Wolf, once again, he was right on the doorstep. Waiting to see, actually, what the word is here. That will stay with the Beacons behind the net. So the shot clock's going to reset. We'll have a bit of a personnel change here. Maeda still in the sin bin. And now a second penalty committed. So 2 man-up opportunities coming for the Beaks here. Fahey will walk it in, and now I think Coach Lowe and the Beaks are going to take the timeout. Yeah, so with a 2-man-up opportunity and just a 1-goal lead, you don't want to let this opportunity slip by. Better safe than sorry here. Beacons are out of timeouts in this first half. Mass Maritime still has 1, and we'll take a quick break. 7:04 left to go in the second quarter. Beacons leading the Bucks 12-11. Just a wild, fun Thursday afternoon of lacrosse up to this point. If you like goals, well, we have plenty of them, and it feels like even more to come. Claflin will walk it in as we get this possession started. Beacons, 2-men-up opportunity right now. 6-on-4 on the offensive side of the field. Chapman around the perimeter to Admirand. To Mann, over to Fahey. Fahey going to change direction now. Mann creating some space in the middle, and Fahey goes low, and a big save from Lally, and just winning the race to the ball is Michael Claflin. Big play for the Beacons there as Mass Maritime almost killed off the first man-up opportunity. About 15 seconds left on that one as Fahey takes the pass from Claflin. First man-up opportunity is over, so now it's a 1-man-up opportunity, and a shoveled shot by Claflin almost finds the back of the net. He misses it wide right. God, that would have been a super creative goal for Michael Claflin. Not even really looking at the net, but just shoveling it in. He misses wide right, but Zach Mann closest to it. He'll launch it back out towards Charlie Chapman. Beacon still with a man up here. 1 for 2 now on man-up opportunities today. Chapman has an angle, gets bumped off his run. He'll take it behind the net and sling it over to Michael Claflin. Both of those opportunities have since subsided, and now a turnover for the Beacons, so they don't score on a double man-up opportunity. That puts them 1 for 3 in the differential department today. A huge opportunity to increase a 1-goal lead instead has the Buccaneers rumbling back down the field. Mulaney going to shovel it off to Lamatina. Nick Lamatina already with 3 goals and an assist this afternoon. A little one-handed cradle at the 40-yard line as he waits for his teammates to join the offensive attack. Lamatina chop steps. Gets the cradle through 2 defenders. Deflected save by Trevor Coppy. But Patrick Colburn, we don't usually see him get beat there. Lamatina got around him with some nice footwork. Colburn lost his mark, but Coppy deflection save. 47 seconds left on the shot clock here for Mitchell Maeda and the Mass Maritime Bucks. Maeda surveying the scene. He's got 2 goals and an assist, but he loses it to Patrick Carey. Big play for Patrick Carey. He is nearing the 50 caused turnover mark on the season. Couldn't have a bigger one there, as that's 70-point scorer Mitchell Maeda. But the turnover now is Colburn's pass, rather haphazard. Maeda gets it back. Working on Chris Palin, deflected by Palin, and it's going to be scooped up by Colburn. He doesn't corral it yet. It's still kicked around. Falling on the play is Ranta, and no, the Beacons don't win the ground ball. Maeda, all the way back in the corner, keeps it alive to Spencer Jones. And now Jones, he's got a big shot. He thinks better of the shot. He'll reset the offense to the middle of the field. Lamatina, dodging through. His shot is high and wide, but Maeda is closest to it. Mitchell Maeda, we are seeing a lot of individual effort out of the little attack man. Standing 5'7", has the ball in his stick quite a bit. And thought he was dispossessed 2 separate times there. He kept the fight alive. Ultimately corrals the ground ball for Mass Maritime. 4.5 minutes left to go. Buccaneers very much in this contest, trailing your Beacons 11-12. Maeda spun off his block. Patrick Carey waves the long stick in front of his face, trying to get in the line of vision. That shot misses wide, and winning the race to the ball is Chris Palin. That is a big defensive stop for the second time in a row by the Beacons defense. Wasn't much to get proud of or excited over in the first quarter, but a big second quarter defensively for the Beaks. Remember, we mentioned that second quarter was where the Beacons really won that game earlier this season against Mass Maritime. They're doing it again here. Luke Murphy and the Beaks are going to have a man-up opportunity here as the flag comes in. So the Beaks setting up their offense. Joe Myers on the field. Coming off is Patrick Carey. And now it's going to be 2 separate fouls on the play. So however this possession goes, the Beacons are going to get the ball back. Fahey with Kidd to his left. Chop step. Looks towards the net. Keeps the cradle alive. Now passes it out to Brzezinski. Donovan fakes the shot. Rumbles to his right. Rips the shot. It's saved by Lowley, and he gets the rebound right in front of Michael Claflin. But the whistle will blow, and now the Beacons will get to set up this man-up opportunity. We mentioned the Buccaneers, 2 of 2 in the extra man-up opportunity today. The Beacons just 1 for 3. And I believe this is going to be the second time that it will be a 2-man-up opportunity for the Beacons. Unfortunately, the last time they had that opportunity, it ended without any goals scored. Gage Coulihan, sophomore attackman out of Abingdon, Maryland, one of the 2 guilty parties in the penalty box. And joining him, that looks like Matt Mullaney, the sophomore midfielder. So Coulihan and Mullaney both in the sin bin. And for the second time, the Beacons are going to have a 2-man-up opportunity. 1 for 3 today with the extra man up. 3:31 left to go here in the second quarter. It's always a nice time for a goal. But this would be an exceptionally nice time for the Beacons right now, as this game's still razor-thin margin with the Beaks up 12-11. Fahey gets the pass behind the net, surveys the scene, fakes the pass. Into the middle of the field, Brzezinski. Donovan steps into it. It's deflected. And Sean Lowley with the dive wins the race to the ball. He gets in front of Zach Mann. And just with a full-out Superman dive, gets closest to the ball before it goes out of bounds. Almost a tragic turnover in the defensive end by Leo Allgaier. He's able to keep the cradle alive and get it across the timeline. A nice job fielding that pass by Owen Donahue. And now Donahue into the middle of the field towards La Matina. It's a high pass. Penalty is over against Gage Houlihan. Mullaney's penalty continues. And now away from the play on the action, crumbling to a heap, is senior defender Chris Palin. Oh, that's a shame to see. Jacob Banks coming over, offering his support. But whenever you see a player go down like that, with a man-up opportunity, and you see Palin kind of grabbing towards that leg, you assume that that is the situation here. So we're going to take a quick break with the training staff heading out, taking a look at Chris, the senior defender out of West Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Beacons still up 1, 12-11. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. We're back here at Cotter Field, and that moment looked like it could have been a lot scarier, but the words everyone loves to hear, Chris Palin is up off the field under his own power. In fact, pretty good jog off the field for Chris Palin, who's having a whale of a game this afternoon. 1 assist this season for Chris Palin. dealing with an injury on and off this season, playing in his 9th game. He's won 15 ground balls on the year for the Beaks. He's off the field right now, but we saw him get a nice little head full of steam there on his jog off the field, and so maybe potentially more scary than it was serious for Chris Palin. We'll keep our eyes on him. Nick LaMattina, fronted by Chris's twin brother Matt Palin, shoots high and wide, but the Buccaneers will keep possession alive. 2:42 left to go here in the second quarter. Mass Maritime Buccaneers, the 4 seed in the LEC, not going anywhere in this conference semifinal. How about Jack Ranta lowering the boom, dispossessing a player for the Buccaneers? This ground ball is still alive, and digging away with it is Patrick Carey, corralling it and getting out of trouble. Now Luke Murphy takes it across the timeline. He has Mike Claflin wide open in front of the net. He didn't see him. Tries to slip a pass to Fahey. It actually gets deflected, which will keep this possession alive. Admiran giving chase, and Fahey's going to scoop it up. Fahey has his man out of the net. Instead, Dara thinks better of it. The shot clock resets. So with 2 minutes left, Fahey's going to reset the offense to Claflin. Claflin tries to curve a shot in around Lally. It misses wide to the right, but Gavin Admiran closest to it. And so with 2 minutes left in the second quarter, the Beacons still trying to stretch out this 1-goal lead. Largest lead for Mass Maritime was 5. They led it 1.8-3. Beacon's largest lead of the game was 2. They just led 12-10. Most recent goal scored by Mass Maritime. Chapman stepping into one. How about that pass across field from Claflin to Charlie Chapman? Chapman and Myers share a celebration. And Charlie Chapman, the big goal number 2-0 for the 20th time this season. The diminutive midfielder out of Sandwich, Massachusetts, finds twine for the second time today, 20th time this season, and the Beacons back up 2. And what a beautiful assist by Michael Claflin as he continues his charge towards the 100-point mark this season. Claflin with 2 goals and 2 assists already today, which by my math brings him to 93 points on the season. Chapman with the goal, his 20th, and the Beacons back up 2, 13-11. Joe Brzezinski doesn't win the faceoff. And I was going to say did win the ground ball, but no, he doesn't. That's going to be a face-off infraction against the aforementioned Jack Dobrzinski. And so Brandon Kozowitz going right back to work for the Bucks. We're down to 1.5 minutes left in the second quarter. By most games' timing standards, we should be in the third quarter by now as that shot gets deflected and goes wide. But we had that shot clock delay early in the first quarter and then, 24 goals up to this point. So that's going to stop the clock on and off quite a bit. Mitchell Maeda, he scored 2 of them this afternoon, vying for his third. Instead, he's going to have to pass it out. Not corralled cleanly, but giving chase and winning it is Brandon Kozowitz. Nick LaMattina and Brandon Kozowitz, a little 2-man game. Patrick Colburn coming way out to front Kozovic. And now Matt Palin applying the pressure. Almost dispossesses Kozowitz. Instead, will hand off the reins to Elijah Beasley. Low shot from Spencer Jones. It gets deflected. Trevor Coppey trying to win the race, but Mitchell Maeda closest to. 33 seconds left on the shot clock. 53 seconds left on the game clock here at Cotter Field. Beacons up 2. They've had a 2-goal lead 2 separate times. As we mentioned, Mass Maritime at one point led this game 8-3. And that was thanks to a run that included a goal scored by Buccaneers goaltender Sean Lally. Spencer Jones fires and finds twine, and for the 3rd time today, and the 39th time this season, Spencer Jones scores. And this Mass Maritime team, they are here for all 60 minutes. They're back to within 1. It's Beacons 13, Bucks 12. So much offense that probably haven't shown the appropriate spotlight on Spencer Jones. 6'1", 225 out of Barnstable, Massachusetts, and scored, coming into action, 36 goals across just 12 games. Yes, the man averages a hat trick. He already has 3 in this game's first half. And an offensive explosion, really, unbeknownst to either team here, has Mass Maritime within 1. Claflin gets the pass from Murphy, rips a pass in through the teeth of the defense, and actually it was a shot attempt that was just smothered and saved by Lally. And now rumbling back down the field is Donahue. He slides the pass over, around they go to Maeda, and Maeda scores. We are tied back up again as Donahue goes to Coulihan, who slips it over to Mitchell Maeda, and this game somehow knotted up at 13 apiece, and the timeliness of that goal cannot be understated. You look at the clock here at Jack Cotter Field, it reads 3.1. 2 goals in the final minute for the Bucks, and it's the two usual suspects, Spencer Jones and Mitchell Maeda. They both have 3 now on the afternoon. 39 on the season for Jones, 41 on the season for Maeda, and we're tied at 13, and it looks like, barring anything crazy, that's the score we will head into halftime with. One more face-off win for Rosher. Horn sounds, and that will do it. We've played 30 minutes of lacrosse, 30 wild minutes at that, and this game is still tied. We will take a very quick break. We'll come right back with the halftime numbers. After this from James Cotter Field, Beacons 13, Bucks 13. More in a split second here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. We are back here at James Cotter Field at halftime in the 2022 LEC Conference Semifinal. Now, if I told you that this game would be tied at halftime, you probably would have looked at me skeptically. If I told you this game would have been tied at 13, you would have looked at me like I had two heads. But that is where we are at here at Cotter Field. Mass Maritime, a rather low-scoring, deliberate-paced team with 13 goals, including 9 in the first quarter, and they are knotted up with your number 1 seeded UMass Boston Beacons, 13 apiece at halftime. Looking at the numbers, both teams with 13 goals, 10 assists for the Beacons to 9 for Mass Maritime. 4 more shots for the Beacons, but both teams astronomical shot numbers. 36 first half shots for UMass Boston, 32 for Mass Maritime. Both teams at 33% on the man up opportunity. Mass Maritime 1 of 3, UMass Boston 2 of 6. The Beacons are winning the ground ball battle. It felt like that from up here at the press box, but still too many loose balls this afternoon. 26 ground balls won by the Beaks to 20 from Mass Maritime. 8 saves for both teams, 8 for Sean Lally, 4 apiece for both Trevor Copy and Christian Meinhold. The Beacons 9 of 10 on clear opportunities. Mass Maritime 11 for 13. Both teams winning 14 of 28 face-offs. The Beacons have committed 8 turnovers, and the Buccaneers have committed 11. So pretty even stats. I mean, it can't get more even than 13 to 13. We have 26 total goals. Let's run through them right now. For Mass Maritime in order: Nick LaMattina, Peter Ray, Spencer Jones, Mitchell Maeda, Nick LaMattina's second, Sean Lally, the goalkeeper, Nick LaMattina's third, Jack Iverson, Spencer Jones's second, Gage Coulahan, Spencer Jones's third, and Mitchell Maeda's second and third. That is how Mass Maritime scored their 13. For the Beaks, Michael Claflin, Donovan Przinski for the second time, Dara Fahey, Jacob Banks, Greg Wolf, Luke Murphy, Jacob Banks for the second time, Dara Fahey for the second time, Charlie Chapman, Michael Claflin, Jack Dobrzinski, and Charlie Chapman for the second time. That's how the Beacons got their 13. In any other contest, 13 goals scored in that fashion would be a good sign. But right now, you have a hungry, hard-fighting Mass Maritime Academy team that already has one playoff win under their belt this season. Looks like the Beacons side field huddle has finished. So just a really quick word from head coach Tyler Lowe and the boys. They're going to get ready on their sideline. Mass Maritime still in their team huddle. We'll keep the camera trained on the field so you can see both teams getting ready for the second half. We'll take a 6-minute break, and we'll come back with the second half of action here from James Cotter Field. One more time, halftime at the Beacon Broadcasting Network, halftime at James Cotter Field, all tied at 13. More after this in about 5.5 minutes on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. All right, well, before we look ahead to this second half, we got to look ahead at the action in the LEC Conference Semifinals. The next game for the Beacons is going to be the LEC Championship game. If they win today, it'll be right here at Cotter Field at 1:30. Who they will play, that will be dependent on the winner of the 2-3 matchup between Keene State College and WestCon. That game going to take place up in Keene, New Hampshire at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Jack Dobrzinski in the face-off circle, ready for the go-ahead for the Beaks. Brian Rocher making his way into the face-off circle for the Bucks. We are 30 minutes into a conference semifinal game, and we are still tied at 13 goals apiece. Christian Meinhold now back in the net for the Beacons. He's played about 10 minutes this afternoon, 20 minutes for Trevor Copy. Dobrzinski wins the face-off, but then losing possession is Jack Ranta. To the ground ball man, Brian Rocher. Rocher trying to get around Dobrzinski. He'll keep his cradle alive, and Maritime is going to start the second half of this game with the first possession. Taking it off the win, long stick midi Patrick Lawson feels the pressure of Luke Murphy before probably wisely handing it off to Nick Lamatina. We're all square at 13 goals as Ryan Coleman rushes through before slipping a pass over to Nick Lamatina. He winds and fires. Big shot gets deflected in front. It gets deflected right towards Mitchell Maeda. Maeda feeling the mark of Chris Palin. Nice to see Chris back on the field for the Beacons. Around the perimeter they go. Ray not going to take the shot. Instead, they go to Maeda. It's a big save for Meinhold, but he lets the rebound by. Matt Palin can't win the ground ball. Patrick Carey chopping at it. He'll keep it alive, and ultimately Chris Palin does win the ground ball. He gets it ahead to the goalie, Christian Meinhold, and up ahead come the Beacons. So one possession on defense, one huge stop to get this second half underway. Luke Murphy slips a pass over to Claflin. He'll get to walk into one, and wow, you don't see Michael Claflin miss from that range too often. He misses high and wide. Fahey wins the race to the ball. And walking it back in is Dara Fahey. Worth noting, Gavin Admiran, 55 goals in the regular season, no goals yet today. Fahey looking in his direction. Instead, he'll look back to the right over to Michael Claflin. They have some room along the perimeter as Charlie Chapman rumbles over towards Brzezinski. Brzezinski can't cleanly field the pass, and it's going to be a turnover. Normally sure-handed Donovan Brzezinski can't field that pass all too well. Ryan Cameron forces the turnover. Lally gets it out of trouble in the direction of his defender, Leo Allgaier. And the junior out of Duxbury, Mass. will walk it down the left sideline before reversing course to Sean Lally. Lally, with a goal already today, he's going to rip this one towards the middle of the field. That pass actually got to its target, Spencer Jones, but it's scooped up by Chris Palin over to Christian Meinhold, and right down the middle of the field go Luke Murphy and the UMass Boston Beacons. Murphy over to Chapman. Charlie, one-on-one, and he scores top right corner. Big goal for the sophomore, his third of the afternoon, and the Beacons regain the lead. It's 2 consecutive Charlie Chapman goals. He now has 21 on the season. And that wide open run through the middle of the defense by Murphy brought on a lot of defensive help from the Buccaneers. Everybody went to the middle or the left side of the field, and that right hash was all Charlie Chapman's for the taking. It's his third of the afternoon, his 21st of the season, and the Beaks, by a razor-thin margin, back up front here, 14-13. Would be really apt time for a Beacons face-off win. McNeely going to the ground. He wins the face-off. Can he keep the ground ball alive? Yes, he does. And he'll get it across the timeline. And now Jason McNeely looks ahead to Dara Fahey. Fahey has had the ball in his hand a lot around the perimeter here. Good distributing role for Dara. Gets a screen from Admiran. Does not curl in the shot. Instead, he keeps the cradle alive. He turns right into a double team. And he gets dispossessed. Good play by Leo Allgaier there, taking advantage of Fahey's indecision. But now the ball passed to nobody, and it's picked up by Joe Myers. Nice win there for the Beaks. After committing a turnover, they cause one. Myers chops his steps behind the net, surveys the scene, will wing it out in the direction of Dara Fahey, who gives it back to Zach Mann. Mann on an angled dodge to his right, over to Michael Claflin. Claflin back to Chad Kidd in the middle of the field. Kidd switches to a left-handed look. Flips it over to Fahey. Fahey shot low to high and a beautiful save by Sean Lally. I think he got that one with the shaft of his stick, but he catches it cleanly. And the Bucks going back the other way. Already this third quarter with a bit of a different feel to it than the first two. 3.5 minutes and just one goal scored. Now, a look like this resulted in a goal earlier on in the contest for Sean Lally. Instead, he's going to turn and dump it off to Owen Donahue. Donahue comes back off, and the 6 members of the offensive personnel making their way onto the field for Mass Maritime. Dale Donovan trying to get the pass from Gage Coolahan, finally does, and he waits for support in the form of Peter Ray. 4 minutes into this third quarter, Beacons 14, Bucks 13. Slipping down on the play, wow, unbelievable. Falling down on the play was Dale Donovan, but he still gets a pass over to their goal scorer extraordinaire, Mitchell Maeda, who does what he's used to. 4th goal of the afternoon for Maeda, and if I have this tallied right, his 42nd of the season. Buccaneers aren't going anywhere. They are fielding every punch thrown by UMass Boston and answering with a counter of their own. We're tied back up 14-14. 10:53 now left to go in the third quarter. McNeely going to duel with Rocher. It looks like Rocher wins another one. Instead, it gets chipped out through the legs of Rocher. Ranta running to it, trying to put up that screen along the sidelines. He tosses it backwards. It's still on the ground, still fighting for it, now ultimately getting pushed from the backside. Oh no, they call the penalty against McNeely. And now McNeely making his way off. I could have swore that the inflicting party on the play was Brian Rocher. Instead, it's going to be Jason McNeely. And this is the 4th man up opportunity for Mass Maritime on the afternoon. Just waiting for that announcement to come in. You can see the coaching staff giving an extra word to Jason McNeely. You never want those mental errors to lead to penalties, but definitely not in a tie game in the third quarter of a conference semifinal. Maeda on the left doorstep. Back up top they go to Jack Iverson. In and out, and wow, Maeda, a beautiful pass to Spencer Jones down low, and that duo has accounted for 8 combined goals. 4 goals for Maeda, now 4 goals this afternoon for Spencer Jones. He just scored his 40th, and Mass Maritime goes back up 1, 15-14. They have found just a tear in the fabric of the Beacons defense that not many opposition has been able to find yet this season, and right now attacking it and exploiting it. Dobrzinski, huge face-off win here for the Beaks. He has 1 goal today. He'll rumble it over before sliding the pass to Jacob Banks. Beacons trailing by 1 here. They can't waste this possession. Largest lead of the afternoon for the Beaks, 3. Largest lead of the afternoon for the Bucks, 5. We've had countless ties at this point. This man, Charlie Chapman, providing a nice offensive spark for UMass Boston. He has 3. He'll roll it over to Donovan Przinski as the national anthem getting played over at Monin Park. Just a lot going on out here on the peninsula this afternoon. Przinski holding it in the cradle. Beacons bleeding some clock here as they trail by 1. Waiting for that man-up opportunity to subside. And now Fahey makes his way onto the field. Fahey, Chapman, Przinski out there with Claflin, Banks, and Admirand. Chapman gets cut off on his run, asks for some help. Claflin sets a pick. Now Chapman spins, wins around his dodge, goes with a backhanded shot. It's saved by Lally, but Banks wins the race to the ball. Beacons are going to get a chance to score, but they just have 10 seconds to get a shot off here. Banks with Lally out of position, going to attack his man-up mark. Shots blocked. 6 seconds on the shot clock. 4 seconds on the shot clock. 3, 2, I don't think Banks knows, and that's a shot clock violation on the Beacons. That's the first chance that any team has had to even get close to a shot clock violation, and it is committed by the Beaks, an unforced error, and now back the other way with a chance to take a 2-goal lead is Matt Mullaney and the Mass Maritime Bucks. Mullaney fronted by Chris Palin. Palin, really all you see is just that added blue knee wrap around his left knee. So no worse from the wear, it looks like. I'm going to knock on wood while saying that, but he's back into action here. Nick LaMattina working against Luke Murphy. Nothing to be had, so he slips it over to Mitchell Maeda. Back out to Ryan Coleman. Coleman, I think he faked stepping into the shot, instead slings the pass over to Lamatina. Quick pass back to Coleman. Shot from the middle of the slot. He goes high to low and beats Christian Meinhold. And back to a 2-goal lead as it's 3 consecutive goals scored here in the third quarter for Mass Maritime. It is the first of the afternoon for Ryan Cameron. My apologies, I had him as Ryan Coleman. His 15th of the season. And Mass Maritime back up to a 2-goal lead, 16-14. Mentioned, this Mass Maritime team scored over 20 just twice in a game, and they are barreling towards that number right now. Another face-off win for the Bucks as Brandon Kozowitz picks it up in the midfield, rumbles right on through Dara Fahey, and that's going to be a ward against Kozowitz. That's a huge call. The Beacons needed that one as the Bucks, for a split second, had a chance to take a 3-goal lead. Now Patrick Carey rumbling down the middle of the field off the pass from Murphy. He thinks better of it. Will let the help come in the form of Donovan Przinski. And now Przinski and Murphy, a double rush in high from the hash marks. Przinski's pass to Banks gets deflected. Plenty of room for Jacob to scoop it along the sideline. Still have yet to see much out of Gavin Admiran. No goals scored. We don't have a word on any official assists out of Gavin or not. 90 points coming into action. None yet today, but a huge goal there from Michael Claflin as Donovan Przinski threads the needle on a beautiful pass. Understated big game so far out of Przinski, and another goal scored by Michael Claflin. That is his third of the afternoon. It's a hat trick for Claflin, and almost as importantly, goal number 50 on the season for Michael Claflin. Every single one of them clutch at this point, but the Beacons back to within 1. And they'll need every single one from this point out. It's Buccaneers 16, Beacons 15, and Dobrzinski, well, didn't win it yet. Now he does. He wins the faceoff, keeps it controlled for Luke Murphy, and the Beacons back on offense with a chance to tie this game back up. What a back and forth affair we are having at Cotter Field. The Mass Maritime Buccaneers leading your UMass Boston Beacons 16-15. Charlie Chapman gets the pass, and he'll try and shoot it through the defense. It's deflected, but it ultimately gets to Sean Lally. Claflin pestering him, but he gets it out of trouble to Leo Allgaier. So that's a very quick possession for the Beacons there. Opportunity wasted to tie this game up. Some effort from Jacob Banks trying to dispossess the midfielders, but now it sends Sean Lally running up the seam. He floats a pass that somehow got over the stick of Jack Ranta, and wow, blown opportunity right there as Mitchell Maeda almost had his 4th assist of the afternoon, but Gage Houlihan could not climb the ladder and catch the pass. And that's less of a cause turnover for the Beaks as it is a good break. And right after causing the turnover, an ill-fated pass in the direction of Elijah Beasley from Charlie Chapman. It is not one. Instead, the Beacons turn it right back over 5 seconds after forcing a big one. Can't have that in conference semifinal playoff games. Evan Doig with the huge cause turnover. He comes off the field, handing it off to the attack man. Dale Donovan takes a step back before starting his dodge there. He'll survey the scene. He gets a pick, gets a pass over to Spencer Jones, and there's a big save from Christian Meinhold. Jones hasn't been denied too often today. He had a lot of room to step into that shot, but Meinhold answers the bell. Beacons back on offense here, down by 1. Chris Palin going to take it across the timeline here. Currently the 6 Beacons midfielder, Dara Fahey, waiting, and as Palin crosses the midfield line, so does Fahey. Elijah Beasley looking back towards him. He'll sling the pass over to Dara Fahey. Now Fahey with some momentum. Gets past one mark easily. He's got a left-handed shot. It bounces, misses the target. But Michael Claflin closest to it. Claflin quickly over to Jacob Banks. And Przinski, as he's done a lot, will anchor the perimeter attack. Chad Kidd loses the ball on the dodge attempt. He gets the pass over to Donovan Przinski. No harm, no foul there. Gets it back from Przinski. Now gets past his mark. Rumbles through. Left-handed shot. No. Rebound attempt. No. Ball in front. And that's going to be a crease warning against Chad Kidd. And back the other way. Chad Kidd literally on the doorstep, as close as you could be. Not allowed to step inside that blue circle. And he did after the big save from Sean Lally. And now the aforementioned Sean Lally Going to do some ball handling here, trying to take on Jacob Banks. Shovels a pass in the direction of Gage Coulihan that ultimately gets all the way out to Christian Meinhold in the deep corner, but out of trouble. And now Meinhold, gosh, these passes, they're getting to their target, but just barely. Banks has it along the right sideline. Working on a dodge now. He gets through it. Has Claflin across the field. Fakes the pass. Now a wind and fire and score! And that is all Jacob Banks doing it himself. The fourth goal of the game for the sophomore midfielder, and the sophomore superlatives coming through big. 3 goals for Chapman. Now 4 goals for Jacob Banks. He has 37 on the year, and the Beacons are tied back up at 16 apiece. What a game we have developing here at Cotter Field. That all started thanks to a Christian Meinhold pass from the deep left corner of the field. It got to Banks on a bounce, and that was all individual effort from Banks. That's going to be an unassisted goal for Jacob to tie this ball game back up at 16 apiece, and a huge face-off win there thanks to Dobrzinski. And here come the Beacons. Once again, they had the lead on the first goal of the third quarter. Haven't had it since. We're tied at 16 in a back-and-forth affair here at Cotter Field, and it's going to be Luke Murphy, the sure-handed senior midfielder, attacking from the right hash mark. Puts his head down, can't get around the mark of Matt Mullaney. Keeps his cradle alive. Working from behind the net. Left-handed scoop is alive, and the shot is in! Goal for Luke Murphy, and the Beacons are back up in front as he kept the cradle alive, lifted the stick through some defensive contact, and goes low and tucks it in the bottom corner. First goal of the afternoon for Luke Murphy. Just confirming that. Yes, first goal of the afternoon for Luke Murphy, his 14th goal of the season, coming at a huge time for the Beaks. And they do retake the lead in what is already a nail-biter, even though we still have 4 minutes left in the third quarter. It's Beacons 17, Bucks 16, and if your seatbelts already aren't fastened, well, they should be. Another face-off win for Mass Maritime. The teams are still even in the face-off circle today, and they have a chance to tie this game back up. Patrick Lawson, spinning on Elijah Beasley. He has played a lot of minutes this afternoon in that defensive midfielder position, pestering Nick Lamatina. Lamatina, 3 goals in the very early going in this contest. Going to knock on wood when I say this, but we haven't heard much from him since on the offensive end. Working on Beasley, instead passes it to Jones. Spencer Jones, little shoulder shake. He's got a big body. They can't knock him off his mark. Unbelievable. He rumbles right around that double team and can't get any closer to the goal, but he still keeps possession alive and gets it out of trouble. Donahue, over to Kozowitz. There's going to be a penalty against the Beacons, so Kozowitz is going to rip it himself. Never mind the man-up opportunity, and we are tied again. The first goal of the afternoon for the true freshman, Braden Kozowitz. And this game is tied 17-17. Yes, that score is right, and yes, we still have 18 minutes of lacrosse left. For Braden Kozowitz, his 15th goal of the season, he saw that the flag was thrown for the man-up opportunity, so he thought, hey, no need to set up the offense. If I miss the shot, we're just going to have a man-up anyway. And instead, he just whines and fires and beats Christian Meinhold from a good distance away, and we're back tight again at 17 apiece. Dobrzinski, the grad student, has given it his all in the face-off circle. We haven't seen a lot of Jason McNeely, in part due to an early game penalty, and in part due to just the impressive success rate for Dobrzinski. Penalty on the play committed by the Bucks. So if the Beacons turn it over here on the next touch-up, they will have a man-up opportunity. Fahey and Przinski going to work, and Gavin Admirand, who has not been on the field all that much in the third quarter, now finally back up with the Beacons getting situated here. They will have a man-up if they commit a turnover in this offensive possession. This game is tied 17 apiece, and Donovan Przinski, 2 goals on the afternoon, along with 2 assists, operating from along the perimeter. Crossfield pass to the aforementioned Gavin Admirand, who slides it back to Donovan. Pick set. No, Donovan's going to rumble past him himself. Behind the goal. Eyes trained towards the middle of the field. Keeps his cradle alive. Can't get the pass over to Banks, but now gets it to Admiran. Admiran backing up, looking for space. Down low they go, and it's Dara Fahey off the assist from Gavin Admiran. You can't keep a good man down long, and Fahey is having himself a nice little afternoon. Third goal of the contest for Fahey. He has 39 on the season, one away from his second consecutive 40-goal year, and the Beacons now back up 18-17. It's been crazy that in this contest, as great as Gavin Admirant has been all year, it has definitely been the other two of that tremendous trio of senior attackmen, Claflin and Fahey, kind of grabbing this game by the horns. And Dara Fahey, he always has that streak when the ball is in his stick out on the field. That was just a great team play for him, reading the wave in the defense, finding an open spot, and then letting Admiran get the pass to him. You couldn't catch a worse break there on that faceoff as Chris Palin loses it and then in frustration commits the penalty. And so, a timeout on the field and Mass Maritime possession when we rejoin the action. We thought maybe this third quarter would open this game up one direction or another. Instead, it's just gotten closer. We'll take a quick break. 1:56 left in the third quarter. The first timeout taken in the second half by Mass Maritime. Beacons lead 18-17. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Mass Maritime takes the timeout. They have one remaining here. Beacon still with two in the second half. If you're just tuning in, no time for hyperbole, you missed a lot. And I'm not going to go through it now. Just know that we have 35 total goals scored in the 43 minutes of action today. 18 by the Beacons, but 17 by the Mass Maritime Bucks. And here's Braden Kozowitz. He just scored for the Buccaneers, circling it all the way behind the net and completely around the perimeter of the Beacons defense. He gets around Patrick Carey and draws a penalty in the process. And so it's going to be a man-up opportunity next possession for Mass Maritime. The last time this happened, Kozowitz just decided to let it rip, and he found Twine. Almost commits a turnover, but a beautiful play made by Mitchell Maeda. And this allows Mass Maritime to really bleed some clock in the waning minutes of this third quarter. And remember, they're going to have a man-up opportunity whenever the Beacons do touch the ball. So now Jack Ranta going to have to pester Mitchell Maeda, which is a very tough task to do. This is a man who has scored 4 goals already this afternoon to go along with, at minimum, 2 assists. We have Spencer Jones onto the field. The man-up opportunity is now underway, it looks like, for Mass Maritime. Rumbling in is Brandon Ray. He had a goal in the first quarter. That shot misses wide, but winning the race back is Mitchell Maeda. And no, actually, so that shot going out of bounds now, officially does start the man-up opportunity. So a stop for the Beacons, but it's a Patrick Carey penalty. One of, if not your best end line long stick defender for the Beacons. He'll be off for at least 30 seconds. Now there's just 10 on the shot clock. The shot clock should reset here for the Buccaneers, and it does. But the Beacons needing a stop here. Mass Maritime right now 2 of 4 in man-up opportunities. Iverson to LaMattina, back to Iverson. Jack with 1 goal today. Swings a pass over to LaMattina. He gets cut off, but there's a crossfield pass, and it's not corralled cleanly. Giving chase is Kozowitz. Will he lose it out of bounds? Yes, he does. And Chris Palin 25 minutes ago, it looked like he was out of this game with a catastrophic knee injury. Now standing on his head, playing a phenomenal game of defense for the Beacons. He causes the turnover, and the Beacons now looking to kill off this man-up opportunity. Closing seconds of the third quarter, Patrick Colburn, why not just rumble it on in? 7 seconds left. He'll take an angled shot. It misses wide, and the Buccaneers are closest to it. But that officially does kill off the man-up opportunity. Great defensive possession for the Beaks, and it will give them some momentum, barring anything crazy here, as that pass is launched in, and that'll do it. So the Beacons, with as much momentum you can possibly have with a 1-goal lead, will head into the fourth quarter 15 minutes from an LEC championship game appearance, but with just a 1-goal lead. We'll take a quick break and be back with the fourth quarter after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. (18-17) as we are about to get started with this fourth quarter. It is the LEC Conference Semifinals. The number 4 seed, Mass Maritime Buccaneers, and your number 1 seeded UMass Boston Beacons are taking all they can handle from the Buccaneers right now. The Beacons with a 1-goal advantage. They are out shooting the Buccaneers 48-40, but a big face-off win for the true freshman Brian Rocher. And quickly, the Buccaneers back at it, and a big save by Christian Meinhold. No, it hits his body, and it goes inside the right post. I thought Meinhold got over there in time, but it's a goal for Spencer Jones. His 5th goal of the afternoon, his 41st of the season. We have players reaching goal milestones everywhere we turn in this contest. And the Beacons, just like that, are knotted back up in this conference semifinals with 14:49 left to go. It took just 11 seconds for Spencer Jones to score his 5th. How about Brian Rocher? He has great numbers on the season as just a true freshman, winning again over Jack Dobrzinski. We might see a return to Jason McNeely in the face-off circle. We'll see. Spinning off his mark is Brian Rocher. And he tries to flip the pass over to Mitchell Maeda. It almost gets knocked out of bounds by Jack Ranta. But Maeda, steady as ever, calm as ever, he keeps possession alive, flips it over to Nick LaMattina, and here come the Buccaneers in a tie game, trying to retake the lead. LaMattina, facing off against Chris Palin, keeps the left-handed cradle alive. Left-handed shot is saved by Christian Meinhold. He kept it out. Wow, that was sitting on the line. It was kept out by Meinhold. You hear the Mass Maritime fans complaining, but they're wrong. It did not cross the goal mouth. Let that be the official word on that shot. And we're going back the other way with Elijah Beasley, flipping it across to Dara Fahey. Biggest save of Christian Meinhold's career right there with a centimeter to spare. And now Luke Murphy, lowering the shoulder, trying to force the issue a little bit. He'll have to flip the pass over to Gavin Admirand. Here's Gavin, 55 goals on the season. Keeps his cradle alive. Right-handed cradle. He'll face the defense, sling it past to Donovan Przinski. Przinski spinning inside, keeps his cradle alive, and he's dispossessed by a great play by Patrick Lawson. And then it's going to be won and taken out by the goalie, Sean Lally, who, in spite of allowing 18 goals this afternoon, having a plus contest all in all in the goalie spot. A big stop there for the Buccaneers. And now Leo Allgaier, the man with the ball, across the midfield line. For every bend this game has taken, it has just seen a bend in a different direction. You know, they say for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. That's the story of this game as we are tied at 18. Under 13 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. LaMattina Swinging it over to Maeda. Maeda, angled shot from the near side, and he beats Christian Meinhold, who looks to be the goalie of record on this contest. Another one gets by him over the top right shoulder, and the goal-scoring duo of Maeda and Jones now into the double digits. 5 goals already for Spencer Jones, and that the 5th goal of the afternoon for Mitchell Maeda, and it puts Mass Maritime back up 19-18. Mentioned that the Beacons needed to come out of this fourth quarter with that 1-goal lead with all the momentum. Instead, they don't have any of it yet. 2 goals scored in the quarter, both by Mass Maritime. That's a big face-off win by Jason McNeely, but he's into a little bit of trouble here. Takes it across the timeline, keeps his cradle alive, gets it back to Gavin Admiran, and now the Beacons operating, trailing by 1 here. It's the closest contest the Beacons have been in since really their loss to Babson College, which was almost a full month ago. Przinski floats a pass down low. I think there was a little miscommunication there between Przinski and Fahey. Banks was the closest to it. He doesn't field it cleanly. And now Sean Lally looking ahead. Fahey almost getting there in time to force some pressure on the back end defensively, but instead it's Matt Mullaney taking it across the midfield line and out of trouble. Nick LaMattina waiting for the extra defensive help to come. And he'll let that mark of Matt Palin hit him before starting his dodge. He slings it back out. Man open in the slot is Doug Walker. Walker gets turned around and gets it back to Peter Ray. Ray, a wide dodge around the perimeter of the Beacons defense. Beacons applying some pressure here, but keeping bodies around the net. LaMattina directing traffic, keeps the dodge open. Left-handed shot is alive. Now it's Walker. Low to high shot. It hits the post. Wow, and now it's going to be a race to the ball. Chris Palin seems closest to it, along with Patrick Colburn. It's across the midfield line, and it's taken back out of trouble by Walker. He missed a goal by centimeters, but now he turns it over. Oh, that is a huge break for the Beacons, as Doug Walker, the junior out of North Falmouth, Mass, doesn't get used all that often. He was centimeters away from scoring his first goal of the contest. It pings off the post. He wins the race back to the ball, but then trying to get it off to a teammate, commits a turnover. Luke Murphy fielding the pressure of his mark, getting rid of it to Patrick Carey, and Carey slips the pass over to Admiran. Here come the Beacons now. Admiran chopping, inside step. Can't get the left-handed shot off. Ball is still loose in the middle of the defense. Shot clock gets reset. Allgaier can't win the race to it, and Fahey forces the turnover. Nice pestering defense there from Dara Fahey on the backside of the midfield. He gets to walk it in. That's a huge win for the Beaks. And now Gavin Admirand, about 20 yards from the net, looks off in the direction of Dara Fahey. Fahey waiting there, tried to draw the double team. Instead, they go back around the perimeter to Chapman. Chapman past his mark. Chapman shot off the right post. Oh, he was so close. And it hits the top right corner of the frame, and it goes out. Buccaneers closest to it. It's a game of centimeters, and we've seen both teams on their last 2 shots hit the post on their shot attempts, which has kept this game 19-18 Buccaneers. Matt Mullaney lining up a one-on-one mark with Dara Fahey, who's seeing extended minutes now playing on both sides of the field. He'll come off in favor of Elijah Beasley. And now looking back in the direction of Beasley, but continuing his run, is Ryan Cameron. 1 goal on the afternoon for the midfielder, working on Gavin Admirand, and nice job by Admirand keeping his mark held. Maeda, though, on the doorstep, and he just wings a shot wide. It's going to be a shot. There was nobody to pass it to. I think that might have been planned by Maeda, just knowing, hey, if I miss this shot, it'll stay with us. Very far off target, but possession still with Braden Kosowitz and the Buccaneers. Kosowitz backs his shoulder in. Spins, gets spun off the play by Robert Sprague, and now that ball turned over into the middle of the offensive midfield. Banks gives it to Admiran. Admiran gets the wave ahead. Here's Gavin down the middle of the field, over to Mike Claflin. That pass deflected. What a heads-up defensive play by Lawson. Fahey trying to scoop the ground ball. It's going to be one on the play by Evan Doig, and now Doig and the Bucks with numbers. He's going to keep the run alive himself. Going to angle it all the way in before shoveling a pass over to Jones. Jones with the body size advantage on Palin. His pass flipped up in the air, almost turned over, but Nick LaMattina going to scurry back out of trouble and reset the Buccaneers offense. 9 minutes left in a 1-goal lead here in the LEC Conference semifinals for Mass Maritime. LaMattina. Oh, ducks in between two Beacons defenders. He did it perfectly. He lured the double team, then literally ducked his body between the two defenders, had a one-on-one opportunity, and wins against Christian Meinhold. And it's 3 straight goals for the Mass Maritime Buccaneers. They trailed this game by 1 heading into the fourth quarter, but now with Nick LaMattina's 4th goal of the afternoon and 36th goal of the season, they take a 2-goal lead, hit the 20-goal mark for just the 3rd time this season, and lead your Beaks 20-18 with 8:52 left to play in this LEC Conference semifinal. Another big win for McNeely. He reverses field to Luke Murphy. Now every possession of paramount importance for the Beacons here, as they trail by not just 1, but 2 goals here in this game's fourth quarter. 8.5 minutes left as Luke Murphy gets a screen from Charlie Chapman. Angles to his right. Looks back to Donovan Przinski. Przinski fakes the pass over to Chapman. Operating on Mulaney. Back to Murphy. Murphy winds, fires, and it is just caught out of midair by Mulaney. Amazing defensive play by Matt. And he's a pretty sure-handed ball handler, too. He takes it across the timeline. He'll wait for that extra offensive personnel member to join the field. Almost walks it into a double team, so he's going to have to keep his cradle alive now, but that opens up the middle of the field for Ray. Brendan Ray cruising in, and a huge save for Christian Meinhold, but a foul on the back end of the play from the Beacons. It happened right in front of the referee. We have another late flag. I think that one, I don't know if that's going to be in the area of a retaliation penalty, but hitting the ground hard on the play is Peter Ray, true senior attackman out of Westwood, Mass. And as the Mass Maritime training staff heads towards him, what looked to have been a beautiful stop for the Beacons instead will result in a man-up opportunity. And unfortunately, what looks to be the 3rd penalty of the afternoon for Patrick Carey. Peter Ray hearing the round of applause from the Mass Maritime fans section. He looks no worse for the wear, but now the referees, after a discussion here, I think they might have another player to send off on the Beacons. Trying to make sure everyone on the field gets their flags. So we know there's going to be a penalty against Patrick Carey. I'm not sure if there was anything extra called against Mass Maritime. You see Mitchell Maeda heading back towards the bench as he headed towards the sin bin. Yes, he is. So we did see there was like a second foul thrown after the clear foul against Patrick Carey. It's going to be a retaliation penalty against Mitchell Maeda. So the Beacons dodge a bullet there. It's not a man-up opportunity. And I'm just waiting to see if that means that because it's offsetting penalties, the save made by Meinhold, I believe, is going to be the play that stands. And the Beacons are going to walk into an offensive possession here. That is the best break you could have possibly caught if you're the Beacons. Whatever penalty Mitchell Maeda committed, unbecoming of the junior team leader, it's his 2nd penalty of the day. And no man up for either team. Instead, the Beacons, that'll just go down as the save for Christian Meinhold. They're back on offense, but under 8 minutes left here in the 4th. Murphy gets spun around, almost loses it, still has to fight for it along the sideline, keeps it alive, and changes his direction just to create some more space. Now Dara Fahey can trust him with the ball in his hands more than almost any player on this Beacons team. Same goes for Gavin Admiran. Left-handed dodge for Gavin. He goes behind the net to Banks. Banks' pass is deflected, but it gets back to Jacob. In a goal-scoring spot, right-handed reach shot, no, but Claflin closest to it. And the Beacons will reset with 45 on the shot clock. 7 minutes, 20 seconds left to go here in this LEC conference semifinal. Dara Fahey gets around his man, keeps that cradle alive, and a beautiful shot, low to high. Dara Fahey, have yourself an afternoon, and that is goal number 40. Back-to-back 40-goal seasons for the senior out of Walpole, Mass, and the Beacons, right when they needed it the most, back to within 1, thanks to the heroic efforts of Dara Fahey. Fahey, Banks, and Chapman have really been the players steering the ship offensively for the Beacons. We saw a bit of Claflin in the early going. Not a lot out of Gavin Admiran, but thankfully number 55 has come to play, and the Beacons are back to within 1. 7-10 left to go in this contest. Couldn't be more of a nail-biter, and it's been that way the entire contest. Face-off is won by McNeely. He'll wait. He's going to field the double team. Needs the help to come on. Przinski gets it. It's not offsides because the Beacons don't have the extra man. Now Chapman comes on, and wow, a bullet dodge, but instead it's going to set up a goal-scoring opportunity and a huge save by Lally. There's going to be a penalty on the... No, it's a reset play, yes. Chapman takes the penalty, almost scores the goal there. Lally plucks the save out of midair, but Chapman gets pushed from behind. So possession will stay with the Beaks with a fresh shot clock. Gavin Admiran, he's yet to score today. It would be quite a time to break that little drought. He gives it back to Donovan Przinski, and we're back underway. 6:42 left here in the fourth quarter. Your Beacons trailing in what has been a true barn burner of a lacrosse game, 19-20. Now Przinski and the Beacons changing up their personnel on the back end, it looks like. Sprague's going to come off. Chris Palin comes back on, and with that personnel on the field, now Donovan Przinski is going to start his offensive rush. 42 on the shot clock, so still plenty of time here as Przinski's helped out by Chapman in the middle of the field. Donovan in no hurry. Now under 30 seconds, 27 on a running shot clock. It's Kevin Lynch fronting Donovan Przinski. We're under the 6-minute mark now. Just a good opportunity for everyone to catch their breath, if nothing else here. Przinski looks back. Extra man is Fahey now. Fahey gets a pick. Under 10 on the shot clock. Fahey wings around the net. Just 8. Over to Admiran. Gavin to Chapman. Chapman with 4 to shoot. Chapman, left-handed dodge. Left-handed shot. It misses everything. It doesn't hit the frame, and that's a shot clock violation against the Beacons. We're going the other way. I don't mind that strategy because you do want this time to just get down lower to a spot where if you get a lead, well, there won't be much time left, but that's the problem. Running out of time here, almost losing the ball on the cradle and out of bounds, commits the turnover is Leo Allgaier, and that's Michael Claflin and Gavin Admiran combining for the defensive effort. We usually attribute those guys with some goal scoring. Nice two-way play there. Claflin has an angle. Inside shot, misses. Save made by Lally, but Claflin gets back to it in time. He'll look back over to Dara Fahey on the far right side of the field. Fahey, now 5 minutes left in this contest. Beacon still down by 1. Over to Donovan Przinski in the direction of Gavin Admiran, the senior out of Marshfield, Mass. Angles to his right. No room. He'll swing the pass over to Charlie Chapman. Chapman fakes the pass. Now he'll curve behind the net. They give him the run. He swings it over to Przinski. 35 down on the shot clock for the Beaks. Przinski gets a screen from Admiran. Curls. Has an angle. Shot. Scores! Donovan Przinski hits the top left corner. And with 4.5 minutes left, quite a time to do it, the Beacons tie this game back up at 20 apiece. Donovan Przinski, big afternoon for the grad student. He had 2 goals early in the first quarter. That's his third. Give him a hat trick to go along with 2 assists. And a 5-point afternoon for Przinski has this game tied back up at 20. Yes, 20-20. That's our count with 4.5 minutes left. Przinski, his third of the game, his 19th of the season. And the Beacons are actually on the verge of some very interesting NCAA lacrosse trivia. More important matters to attend to here as Luke Murphy chopping in from the backside. He's going to get called for the foul and runs into his own teammate on the play. And so both Murphy and Max Ranta a bit shaken up after the 2 teammates collide. And that's the last thing you want to see. 2 of your best defensive midfielders kind of both with a slight limp. Ranta's a bit more noticeable than Murphy's. Kosowitz will walk it in. And we are tied at 20, nearing the 4-minute mark in this contest. This is the LEC Conference Semifinal. The winner moves to the championship game, which will be Saturday afternoon. That ball turned over, but then scooped up. Carey can't corral it, and the offensive possession is still alive for Mass Maritime. Almost disaster, but Kosowitz keeps it alive. They'll let Braden reset the possession at around the 30-yard line. He'll switch to a right-handed dodge. Shot is deflected. Saved by Meinhold. Carey scoops it up. Hits the deck on the play. Can't keep the cradle alive. Kosowitz wins it back. Great single effort there by Braden Kosowitz, the true freshman. He got robbed on the shot, but kind of follows his shot to follow a basketball idiom and keeps the possession alive. Now Mitchell Maeda. Feet dancing behind the net, into the middle of the play, shot deflected and save made. Nick Lamatina vying to retake the lead for Mass Maritime, but a big save for Christian Meinhold. He looks ahead to Elijah Beasley. Now Beasley, over to Claflin. Michael Claflin, all the way across to Dara Fahey. Beeks, vying to regain the lead, and Fahey, you can see the anger on his face because a timeout will be called by head coach Tyler Lowe. Just the first of the second half for the Beacons. Fahey thought he had a one-on-one opportunity he could take advantage of, but the Beacons, when we come back, will have possession. We have just 3:05 left in this LEC conference semifinal. The conclusion, when we come back, we are all knotted at 20 apiece. More after this on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. This game, obviously, as every sporting event is, was tied when we got started, but then it was tied at halftime, and 57 minutes in, it is still tied. Good afternoon, everyone, joining in wherever you are around Beaconville. My name's Chris Del Sordo, and we have the final 3:05 on the clock here in this wild, riveting, extraordinary LEC conference semifinal matchup. The 4-seed Mass Maritime Academy Buccaneers are giving the Beacons everything and then some. 2 20-goal performances. Here comes Luke Murphy. The Beaks trying to regain the lead here as we are under 3 minutes left in this conference semifinal. Murphy and Claflin, a little two-man game along the left hash mark. Claflin, right-handed cradle, chops his feet, lowers his shoulder, gets knocked off of his feet, slides a pass over to Przinski. Donovan's going to have to hurry to keep it alive, slides out of bounds. It's going to be a turnover committed by the Beacons, so they call the timeout. They can't get a good goal-scoring opportunity, and now 2.5 minutes on the clock and an 80-second shot clock, and I don't think this Mass Maritime Academy Buccaneers team is going to be in any hurry here. They have a goalkeeper, Sean Lally, who has shown quite a prowess for ball handling. They're going to give him the middle of the field. He scored a goal this way the last time. Almost unfathomable to expect him to join this offensive attack, so he does circle it back, run it across the timeline. And now Mitchell Maeda, fronted by Chris Palin in the deep corner, thinks better of the pass. Instead, he will walk it to the center of the field. So Maeda switches direction, right to left, gets it back out to Spencer Jones. Those two have combined for 10 of the Buccaneers' 20 goals this afternoon. Nick Lamatina has added 4 more himself. Fueling the pressure there of Elijah Beasley, he fakes the pass. Wow, he won Beasley off with that big fake pass. He keeps his cradle alive, and now he has the mark of Jack Ranta. Ranta gives him some room to the left. Lamatina still searching for a shot angle. It's deflected, and that is well out of bounds. It was a deflected shot, though, so it'll stay in the hands of Maeda. 22 to shoot for the Buccaneers. Spencer Jones gets the pass quickly, spinning, no room. Gets slung out, shot is deflected, and now just 13 seconds left to shoot as that one rolls out of bounds off the shot from Dale Donovan. Maeda walks it in. We're back underway here. 12 on the shot clock on a running clock. Working around Palin. Gets cut off. Eyes towards the middle of the field. Tries to duck his shoulder under. Is met at the top by Meinhold, and ultimately Maeda runs it into the crease, which means the Beacons have 83 seconds on the clock and 80 seconds on the shot clock. If they want to, they can line up the possession to be the last goal-scoring opportunity. Instead, Chapman takes the pass. He will run it, and that is where the Beacons will call the timeout to, if all goes as planned, draw up the possession to earn them the win. We are now 59 minutes into an all-time instant classic game here at Cotter Field, and we're going to take one more break, all knotted at 20. The final 71 seconds after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Just 71 seconds left in this contest. We've played 58 minutes, 49 seconds of lacrosse, and this game has been tied more often than it hasn't. We are at another one of those crossroads right now. Beacons 20, Buccaneers 20. Winner is on to the Little East Conference Championship game, and the Beacons with the possession along the right sideline. Right-handed cradle for Michael Claflin. Getting chipped at by the defensive mark of Algier. And now around the perimeter, the Beacons go. Fahey, a deep front from Patrick Lawson, pushing Fahey all the way back to the 35-yard line. Fahey on the field with Admiran, Claflin, Chapman, Banks, and Donovan Przinski. And here's Dara Fahey, 4 goals on the afternoon, nothing doing. He'll wind it back at the 25-yard line. Over to Donovan. Przinski, back to Fahey. Might want to set up Dara with a one-on-one opportunity. Instead, Dara shades behind the net. Now chops his feet around the defense. Passes it towards the middle. It's deflected on the play. Banks giving chase. Fighting with Lally, pestering Lally, and he dispossesses it. Banks scoops up the loose ball. 14 seconds. Banks towards the middle. Chapman, angled shot, he scores! Charlie Chapman off the individual play of Jacob Banks. The biggest assist. It's the 2 sophomores hooking up, and Charlie Chapman rips twine with 9.5 left. Unbelievable for Charlie Chapman, his 4th goal of the game, his 22nd of the season. Wow, and I need to take a deep breath here as the Beacons need a face-off win and a stop with 9.5 seconds left. Jacob Banks saw the opportunity to dispossess Sean Lally. He knocks it free. He then buys time to get the defense to train towards him, gets it to Chapman with an open net, and Charlie, one of the hardest shots on the team, finds it. Dobrzinski doesn't win the faceoff. One last opportunity. Into the middle of the field. 3 seconds left. 2 seconds left. It's knocked away by Ranta, and the Beacons move on. A 1-goal win, and the dream season stays alive for the UMass Boston Beacons. 60 minutes of lacrosse, and we have gone final. Charlie Chapman, the game winner from Jacob Banks. And the Beacons are on to the LEC Conference Championship game on Saturday at 1. Beacons 21, Buccaneers 20. Mark it, it has gone final. We will take a quick break and come back with the game recap after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Well, I use this expression, honestly, a bit too much because it's a cliche. But as they say, there are a million ways to skin a cat. There are a million ways to win a lacrosse game. And the UMass Boston Beacons lacrosse team picked potentially the most difficult way to come across that conclusion. But they do end today victorious, winning an instant classic, all-time classic, great LEC conference lacrosse game. 21-20, and advancing them into the conference championship. They will play the winner of the 2-seed Keene State College and the 3-seed West Con. That game will be held up in Keene, New Hampshire at 5 o'clock tonight. So here are the final numbers. The Beacons outscoring the Buccaneers 21-20. Both teams with 14 assists, 57 shots for the Beacons, 51 for the Buccaneers. Both teams ended the game 2 of 7 on man-up opportunities. The Beacons do impressively win the ground ball battle 47-37, and the Beacons out-saving the Bucks 15-13. It was a razor-thin margin in the face-off circle. 23 Beacons wins, 22 Bucks wins. This is the big number. 17 turnovers for the Beacons, 21 for the Buccaneers, and that 21st turnover was committed by the goalkeeper, Sean Lally, with 15 seconds left off the individual effort by Jacob Banks, who then gets the assist of his lifetime on the goal of a lifetime for Charlie Chapman to win it. So you know what just happened. The Beacons won 21-20, and that they will be playing in the conference championship game on Saturday afternoon. We got a lot of goals to cover, so let's run through it right now. This is how we got there, 21-20, and we will go in chronological order, and then we'll let you guys get on with the rest of your afternoon. In the first quarter, Nick LaMattina, his first. Peter Ray, his 33rd of the season. Peter Ray, his 6th. It was 2-0 Mass Maritime. Then 2 straight Beacons goals. Claflin's 48th, Przinski's 18th, tied it at 2-2. 3 straight Mass Maritime goals from Spencer Jones, Mitchell Maeda, and the second from Nick LaMattina makes it 5-2. An answer from Przinski, his second, made it 5-3. But then 3 more straight goals, including Sean Lally's first goal of his career from the goalkeeper spot. The third goal from Nick LaMattina, the 9th from Jack Iverson, makes it 8-3. The Beacons' 3 straight goals at the end of the first quarter, Fahey, Jacob Banks, and Greg Wolf, that made it 8-6, but then Spencer Jones scored his second with 9 seconds left in the first quarter, and we ended the first quarter with Mass Maritime up 9-6. Then in the second quarter, the Beacons got back into it. 3 straight goals to start the quarter, Luke Murphy, Jacob Banks, Dara Fahey to tie it at 9 apiece. Gage Coulihan put Mass Maritime up with his 16th goal of the year, making it 10-9. Chapman scored his first of 4 to tie it at 10-10. Claflin, Dobrzinski made it 12-10 Beaks, and that point we thought the Beacons might start running away with it. No. Mitchell Maeda scored his second to make it 12-11. Chapman answered to make it 13-11, but then 2 goals right before the half from Mass Maritime from Jones and Maeda tied the game at 13 apiece. We head into the second half, and the scoring slowed down actually quite a bit. It was Charlie Chapman who led off the third quarter with a goal, making it 14-13 Beaks. But then Mass Maritime, 3 straight. Maeda, Jones, and Ryan Cameron scoring, putting Mass Maritime up 16-14. Claflin, Banks, and Murphy score in a row to put the Beacons back up 17-16. And once again, you thought, okay, Beacons are up 17-16, quarter's almost over, we've got it back. Spoiler alert, they did it. Braden Kosovitz scored to make it 17-17, and Dara Fahey did score right before the end of the third, putting the Beaks up 18-17. But 3 straight goals to start the fourth quarter. Spencer Jones' 5th, Mitchell Maeda's 5th, Nick LaMattina's 4th had it 20-18 Bucks and looking very bleak for the Beacons, but Dara Fahey scored his 40th goal of the season with 6.5 minutes left to go. Donovan Przinski scored his 19th of the season with 4 minutes left. And then with 9.3 seconds, the biggest goal of the Beacon season, scored by sophomore midfielder Charlie Chapman off a beautiful assist from Jacob Banks. And the Beacons are moving on to the conference finals. That will do it for us here from Cotter Field on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you to our producer, Dave Wahlberg, our director, Maria Spilios, our camera operator, Danny Anderson. I am Chris Del Sordo, and I feel honored to have been able to bring you that Beacons win this afternoon. Wherever you are headed back to today, get there safely around Beaconville. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and roll Beaks.